All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Hour one, Jon and Jim here until 6 p.m. Kevin Acee, our Padres insider, for a final time, potentially. Not ever. That sounded very dramatic. But for a final time this season, will join us coming up at 5 p.m. because there is a lot to react to. What went wrong against the Dodgers? Then there's a lot to kind of look forward to this offseason as well. We also have a 4-pack of tickets to give away to SeaWorld's Howl O Scream going on now through November 2nd. There's also reporting that's going on today from Dennis Lin that we'll talk about over the next couple of hours. And we received word earlier today that Luis Arraez has undergone thumb ligament surgery. Now, he's under contract for 2025. He somehow still won the National League batting title, despite the fact that he had a torn ligament for the entirety of the second half of the season. And his numbers, by the way, in the second half were good. We know they weren't great in the postseason. But, Jim, in the second half of the season, Luis Arraez hit 321. So, like, even with the torn thumb, you'd like to think if he gets that thing fully healthy, he's capable of doing more than that. Now, Padres are going to have a decision to make on Luis Arraez, not just from, like, an extension perspective, but, like, do you keep him? He's going to make a lot more in 2025 than he made this past year. But Luis Arraez has gone under the knife, and hopefully he'll be better off for it this upcoming season, and even despite that fact, had a darn good 2024.
Yeah, it's no excuse for his bad postseason. If you want to use it as an excuse, okay. But he still hit 318 for the Padres this year.
Mm-hmm.
Second half wasn't as great, but he definitely had moments, and it was affecting him for sure. But imagine what he could have done if he was fully healthy. He didn't have issue with his thumb that needed surgery. So right now, if we're looking at the tally mark, we have Luis Arraez has surgery, Ha-Seong Kim had surgery, Joe Musgrove had surgery. Anybody else going to get surgery on this team? Now, Joe won't be pitching next year, and Ha-Seong Kim probably won't even be on the team next year. And Luis Arraez, I don't even. I think the conversation of trading Luis Arraez, I hope that doesn't come up. I really don't. I really hope that this team keeps Arraez for the long haul. He is kind of an anomaly type of player where he does something that is viewed by all the stat nerds as not very special. But I think Luis Arraez, what he does is something that should be viewed as special, which is he gets on base, he hits for high average, and he never strikes out. And if he's healthy, he's like the best hitter in baseball. So for me, I'm like, hey, can we figure out a way to keep Luis Arraez around for a long period of time here?
He's on my wish list to obviously stick around, and they have him under control through 2025. But is he the first on my wish list in terms of priorities for AJ Preller? We can get into that over the next couple of hours. I mean, listen, he has great value, but you also have to quantify the value. And what I mean by that is, what are you willing to give him if you're giving him an extension? Even next year, he just made $10 million this year.
And he got paid none of it by the Padres.
Correct. And now they'll owe him all that money in 2025, plus he's arbitration eligible, which means if his $10 million goes to, let's say, 14 or $15 million, that's $14 or $15 million they have to pay for him in 2025. At what point is it too much for a Luis Arraez? I think that's reasonable. 14, 15 for a season, right? 3 or 4 years, $45 million for 3, $60 million for 4. But at what point are you like, is he worth $18 million a year? Is he worth $20 million a year? What if the batting numbers ever dip? Because other players, when batting numbers dip, can do other things. Well, he drives and runs. Oh, he hits for power. Oh, he's a good defender. He was a fine defender, but he's not here to drive and runs, even though he was good in that spot. So, like, if he's not going to hit 320, and if he dips to, let's say, like 280, you can't pay a guy that's going to hit 280 with no power $15 to $18 million a year. So you are paying him to make sure he's getting on base at a really good clip. And the short sample size of the postseason, he didn't, and we felt it. I think he can do it over full seasons because we've seen it, but is he going to do it for 3, 4, 5 seasons in a row?
Well, he just did that. And he's 27 years old.
Continue doing it for 3, 4, 5 seasons in a row. And even if the answer is yes, is it worth more than what?
Well, I haven't seen a decline in Luis Arraez. If anything, I've seen just like consistency with them.
Well, he had 400 out of the gates with San Diego. Remember the run.
Mm-hmm.
And he was not that hitter after that. He was good.
Well,
but take the
318 is better than good.
No, well, it was how much of that's predicated on his first 20 games.
Okay.
When he tore the cover off the ball.
And we're also going to say that he was playing with a thumb that had a torn ligament in it.
Correct.
So I think that factors into a little bit of maybe his decline.
I agree with that.
I mean, his career, John, he's a 323 hitter. He's won a batting title each of the last 3 seasons, all with 3 different teams.
Mm-hmm.
So that just proves he can hit anywhere. And since he came up in 2019, 334, 321, 294, 316, 354, 314. I don't see a decline there for a 27-year-old.
Okay.
If anything, I see a guy that could probably do this for the next 5-6 years.
Can I give you the other side? Can I just make a counter argument? And I like Luis Arraez. I'm just saying at what cost? My counter argument is he's a one-WAR player.
Okay.
So, I mean, that has to at least be a consideration that when you look at all the tools, he's got one gaudy tool that shows up in batting average, which has value. I completely agree with it. But as a gaudy one-tool player, he has to always bring that tool with him. He has to always be able to hit 320. He has to fall out of bed hitting 320, and it's glaring when he doesn't. Look at September, look at October specifically. And what's that worth?
If we're sitting here talking and discussing, should Luis Arraez make this much? Should he make this much? Is this too much for him because of the payroll constraint, construction here? We shouldn't be saying that. We should be saying, hey, get it done.
Figure it out.
Figure it out. Casenda, Grupner, whoever's in charge in the ownership group now, whoever's dealing with the money, figure it out. I don't care. Now, obviously, you don't want to go to a place where it's like crazy money, $25 million a year. No, but 15 to 20. Yeah, probably
15 to 20 a year.
Well, he made 10 this year.
15 to 20. I mean, that's where I'm like, thanks, but no thanks. If I get to 20, I'm thanks, but no thanks, man. This is the same fan base that's telling me Jerks and Profar could do the exact same thing.
So would you go 4 for 80 for Luis Arraez or no?
No.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
Who would you rather have on?
They don't have. They
went 7 for almost 80 with Jake Cronenworth.
Well, that's a big difference. 4 for 80 and 7 for 80 is doubling up a salary.
Okay.
See, 20 or 11. Okay. But your points, as well as I do, their payroll is like set. So if it's 160 and you want to take 20 of it for Jerks and Profar, for Luis Arraez, they already don't have a lot of money. They've tied up so much in their core that to me, there's got to be a point where you're like, thanks, but no thanks. Jerks and Profar is the same conversation. He had a really nice year. Are you going to go pay him $15 million a year because he had a really nice year?
Well, let's get this straight. There's no thanks, but no thanks this offseason with Luis Arraez because he is under control for next season.
True, although they could make a tough decision like they made with Juan Soto.
I hope they don't.
I agree.
That would be a mistake.
I agree. You have him under control. You keep him for the short term, but do you keep him for the long term?
I hope they do. He's not a 33-year-old player. He's a 27-year-old player in his prime that every single year is going to hit above 300. 323 career lifetime hitter. When he's healthy, he's incredible. We've seen that.
Yes.
Figure it out. Figure it out. Now, it's not the number one priority with this offseason, but
what is that? Starting pitching?
Yeah.
Because of Joe?
100%. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Starting pitching. And we'll get to that. But
we got plenty of time.
We have plenty of time, everybody.
Plenty of time.
Luis Arraez, when you saw him on, it changes everything. Changed the entire offense. And when he's cold, then obviously you saw what happened to the offense. It feels like the offense was just in neutral. It didn't get going.
Mm-hmm.
He's the table setter. And if he's not setting the table, that's a problem. But I just look at his skill set and I don't care about the one WAR at all. I don't care about that. He's a guy to me that stat nerds hate because of the WAR, but I watch him every day and I don't think that you should judge him off of that because he's a player that kind of is in its own category, in my opinion.
Okay, hear me out. I agree with you, but I am playing a bit of devil's advocate.
Why? Just agree with me.
I don't know, because I am a little wary of giving him 4 or 5 years.
Because of what he did in the postseason?
No, not because of that, because of what I'm about to say, which is from June 1st on, 4 months.
Ligament tear.
For 4 months, his on-base percentage as a leadoff hitter was .325.
Okay, it's not great.
It's really not.
What did he hit?
He hit .297, which means he only that's his on-base percentage because he never walks.
Mm-hmm.
And now he never strikes out. We talked about that. He's got a lot of advantages. I'm just saying there's got to be a dollar figure for a team that's going to be handcuffed by payroll that they're going to have to consider. I even think paying him the $15 million in arbitration is going to cause troubles for a team that doesn't want to increase their payroll, and they're going to increase it solely by paying Luis Arraez.
Well, then you have to make some sacrifices.
So that's the point. So where are we sacrificing? Is it Jay Cronenworth? Great. Easier said than done. I mean, you want to trade Jay Cronenworth. I agree with you, but the market is going to be for Luis Arraez in that hypothetical. Oh, this guy's making 15 in Arraez. This guy's making 11 in Cronenworth. Well, Cronenworth doesn't have any value.
He would have some value if you attach a prospect to him.
Well, who?
I don't know. Not DeVries or Salas, but anybody else.
So, but he's still owed $50 million. That prospect better be pretty good.
Yeah.
Give $50 million flyer.
Well, guess what? That's AJ Preller's job to make those things happen. He did a pretty damn good job this past year, right?
He did. Very good.
Fantastic job. It was his best season by far as a general manager. Every move he made was spot on. Can he back up that with another year where I'm not going to I don't expect him to make every single right move the upcoming season and in this offseason. But can he hit on like instead of close to 95% like he did this year, can he hit on 65%, 70%? Can he hit on that number this season? I think if you do that, I think you're well positioned and you're in good shape.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't expect Preller to make every single right move next year because this kind of felt like an anomaly season. Every move worked out.
Like truly everyone,
every single one,
go,
except for Wusa Go. I totally forgot about that guy. But he even turned Wusa Go around in the Luis Arraez trade.
You're right.
But if this offseason could Preller hit on 60%, 70%, that's I think still pretty damn decent and pretty damn good, if you ask me. And it has to be around how can we make this team better? I see a lot on social media already so far. Run it back. We talked about it yesterday. Running it back
doesn't even happen.
Doesn't work, guys. It just doesn't. You can run it back with certain guys like Luis Arraez, but you have to figure out ways to make your team better. You can't stay the same. And running it back, bringing back all the pieces that worked out this year, there's a very, very large chance that it would not work out in second season.
On the other side, Dennis Lin reporting on extension candidates for the Padres. We'll share with you who those players are, and then we're going to rank them in order from 1 to 3. 3 critical pieces for the Padres in 2024. Let's rank the priority of extending these 3 players on the other side. Plus, Kevin Acee is going to join us at 5 p.m. We're here until 6. It's Jon and Jim. All right, hey guys, it's Jon and Jim, and we've told you now for months about our friends over at Jamul Casino, and October is actually the best time of the year to get there with the NFL action going on, the MLB postseason as well. They've got great opportunities for you to win with their promotions throughout the course of October and beyond.
Yeah, go to the Jamul Casino today. You can watch the postseason action and NFL games at Tony Gwynn Sports Pub. It is an amazing place to watch a sporting event. They have great food. The atmosphere is awesome. Get to Jamul, Tony Gwynn Sports Pub. The place is a dream to watch a sporting event.
Tony Gwynn Sports Pub, to your point, is spectacular for all sports fans. They have so much great food, though, throughout Jamul Casino. And in addition, they also have endless dining. You're going to love it. It's 5 nights a week, including Saturdays. And their endless dining options on Saturday are Saturday Surf and Turf Buffet. They've gone over the top with Perfect combinations of succulent steaks, delectable seafood, and more.
Yeah, get to Jamul Casino today. Check out the Tony Gwynn Sports Pub. Check out their new Chinese cuisine restaurant, Emerald. Get to Jamul Casino. It's fun above all else.
All right, Jon and Jim. That's us. If you missed our 2024 iHeartRadio Music Festival, you can now watch the best moments exclusively on Hulu. See the biggest festival headliners from around the world assembled on one stage. For one show, Keith Urban, New Kids on the Block, Black Crowes, and more. That's the only time you'll see a lineup of superstar performers like this on one stage. See it all at our 2024 iHeartRadio Music Festival, streaming only on Hulu. Did you get the invite from Ben Fadden to join his Talking Friars YouTube channel?
Who?
You will. You will. And you'll say yes. And you'll talk about the offseason after me and him talked about the offseason. Or
think of it more like a support group.
Or are you going to hold the line and be like, you know what, Ben?
No, not
you want
doing
me?
it.
I need cash. Or you got to say no to
I
Jon.
need a talent fee.
Yeah,
buddy. I need either like give me $20 for my time.
$20, okay.
Or buy me lunch.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
One of those. You pick, Ben.
Wow, shots fired.
Yeah, but lunch for Jim is Reese's sticks and a Coke.
Sure, it's $4.
I did have Jersey Mike's today, so
I saw it. Did you eat it all?
Yeah, I had like 2 bites left.
Dennis Lynn at The Athletic this afternoon published an article about Luis Arraez going under the knife, repairing his thumb ligament, and about what the other side looks like. He's arbitration eligible. Could he be an extension candidate? In this article, he just kind of threw it in late in the piece.
Nice little nugget.
Just threw it in. Here are extension candidates, not expansion. Extension candidates for the Padres. I'm always thinking expand. I'm thinking like realignment. I'm thinking NBA expansion. I was sending you tweets the other night about NBA expansion.
Yeah, I told you to shut up.
Twitter search San Diego expansion, and there were like 6 tweets like San Diego's got to be number one. Like forget about Vegas and Seattle. San Diego's got to be right there.
the earth will stop spinning before San Diego gets an NBA expansion team.
Market.
Old takes exposed.
Anyway,
You're
this is what
welcome.
Dennis writes. Extension candidates. Luis Arraez, as we've talked about
Yes.
for the first 15 minutes of the show. Jackson Merrill. Now, this has been documented since the season ended that they went to him before he ever made his major league debut and
Which
wanted
is
to extend him out.
A little bit kind of risky, but
But
now
with
it looks
the
like you
benefit
wish
of
you did it.
hindsight,
Yeah.
it was like pure genius.
A little bit, yeah.
Truthfully, and it's another move that actually favors what AJ Preller did over the last year.
Uh-huh.
And then Michael King, who's under control through 2025, had a 3 ERA in his first season as a full-time starter. How would you prioritize those three players in terms of an extension?
It's a great question because all three of them are going to be under control for at least next season.
Mm-hmm.
Two of them will be gone after next season if they don't get an extension. And Jackson Merrill's here for the long haul. I would go Michael King just because pitching
starting pitcher
is so important, especially with the uncertainty of Joe off of his Tommy John surgery. Darvish is up there in age. He'll be 40 coming out here up soon. Dylan Cease also is another guy who, won't be here after next year, or do they look to trade him in the offseason? I don't know. That's an interesting conversation that we'll have. But Michael King would be probably my top priority. Jackson Merrill, to me, feels like it's going to get done, like regardless of timing. It's just going to get done. So I'm not saying he's not a priority. I'm just saying that he's not going anywhere. Like if you don't get a contract with him done this offseason, guess what? You'll get a contract done with him next offseason or in the middle of this season or whenever it will be. But that number could go up with how well he plays, or it could go down with if he does not play well next season.
The last thing you want is for that number to go down. And then secondly, this goes back to the point we've made throughout the first 30 minutes of the show. The Padres aren't operating like they were even 4 years ago under Peter Seidler when Bally Sports San Diego existed, and they were spending money like they had it unlimited.
Mm-hmm. Sign this guy, trade for these pieces.
And I credit them for that. It was a really enjoyable to cover for 2 years. That was incredible. I mean, it felt like the money would never run out, and then it does, and they've lowered payroll, and they still have won, to their credit, which is great. But they're not operating like the Dodgers or the Yankees, and because of that, when Jackson Merrill goes from, I'm completely making it up, when he goes from 10 or 15 a year to 15 or 20 a year, whatever it is, that is impacting your ability to spend on the rest of the roster. And this is my point on Luis Arraez, that if you're going to give Michael King a contract, which he deserves as a starting pitcher and has value, but if he's going to make $20 million, not everyone can make $20 million a year. Darvish, Musgrove, Toddy, Bogey, Machado, King, they can't all. They can't all make $20 million a year. If it's the 2021 Padres, maybe. Yeah. The 2025 future Padres can't do it. So how are they going to do it? Hence the prioritizing. You're not going to get all nice things anymore. You're just going to get some of the things being nice.
And what really hurts is that just there will be $20 million of dead money next year with Joe Musgrove. And then
is the Hosmer money even off the books?
I don't know if the Hosmer's money off the books yet.
It will be soon. If it's not, it might be
if
it's
year. Not off the books, then they got the dead money there with Hosmer. I'm sure they have other dead money other places as well. I don't have the entire payroll in front of me. But when you think about what kind of contracts these players would get, I truly have no idea for Luis Arraez. I don't have any comp for him because I don't think there is a comp for Luis Arraez. He's kind of like in his own little category, I feel like, because he's not a power guy. You don't really see anybody in the big leagues that hits for average like him, so you can't comp for that, player to Luis Arraez. I think Luis Arraez is going to ask for around 15 to 20 million. That's just what I think, especially if he's making 10 million right now. His number will go up. He's a 3-time batting champ, 3 straight years in a row. That means something, I feel like. Jackson Merrill, on the other hand, I think it's an easy comp. It's Corbin Carroll. That's who you look at and you start there. Corbin Carroll, he got a, let me pull this up here. I think it was an 8-year, hold on, contract extension. Yeah, he got a 9-year, no, that's wrong. Hold on.
This is good.
8 years, $111 million. That's what he got. 8 years, $111 million for Corbin Carroll.
It's
So
about 14.
So you start there with Jackson. And Corbin Carroll won the Rookie of the Year last year. Jackson Merrill could probably win Rookie of the Year this year. And if you're doing side-by-side comparisons of their rookie seasons, you could argue Jackson Merrill had a better season. You can also definitely argue Corbin Carroll had a better rookie season. Corbin Carroll did things last year that were like, what the hell? And Jackson Merrill did a lot of things this year. You're like, wow, I didn't know you could do that as a 21-year-old. So you start there. And then I think Michael King, the comp for me is Kevin Gausman, guy in his 30s that kind of bloomed then. Michael King in his 30s.
Well, what's he make?
That's the problem. 5 years, 110.
See, this is why you have to prioritize. And I'm not saying you, but they, and we'll talk about it on the other side. And Michael King is going to be in his age 30 season next season. You can't pay Merrill in the low 100s, King in the low 100s, and Arraez $20 million a year. I'm sorry. That's not going to happen. So someone isn't going to get that extension on that list at that price. We'll react to that on the other side. Stay with us on Jon and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by Total Carlsbad, relaxed and friendly since 1972. ALCS Game 2 last night. Yankees beat the Guardians. They have a not commanding, but they have a 2-0 series lead. They're the 2 wins away from going to the World Series. And today, about 2 hours from now in New York, game 3 between the Mets and the Dodgers, as that series is tied up 1 game apiece. Luis Severino on the mound for the Mets against Walker Buehler for the Doyers. Toyota Carlsbad is open during construction. Save today with low APR financing on approved credit on all new Tacoma gas models. Offer ends November 4th. See specials online at toyotacarlsbad.com or visit Toyota Carlsbad today.
A game with me, Jim, called Addition. Okay. It's when you add things to come up with a number.
Do you play this game with Jones?
Yes. I feel like I can play it.
Flashcards out.
Yes. So here's the game. Like, yeah, hey, the comp is Carroll. Hey, the comp is Gosman. Hey, the comp is Barry Bonds. Yeah, great. These are great. That's great. And I agree with what you're saying. And I think it's well put together until you realize that they don't have unlimited money. It's not growing on palm trees. So next year, you like that? Palm trees?
That was good. That was a good little
you like that?
tie-in there.
So next year, just roughly, I'm at Spot Track, and they do a really good job with the payroll stuff. And some of it's not always perfect, but they do a good job with it. So, let's just add it up, dude. I mean, Bogarts is making 25 plus. Darvish is making 21 plus. Toddy's making 21. Musgrove's making 20. Machado, I guess the way the salary works out is in the 17 to 20. I don't even know. This isn't AAV, but what they're actually getting paid. If it's AAV, it's higher.
That thing goes up to, I think, 30 something, high 30s in a year or two.
It's 17 next year. Okay. And then Jake the Snake, 11 million.
Jake the Snake.
Suarez, 10 million. So let's add that up real quick. And you know me with my. So Bogey 25 plus Darvish 21 is 46. Plus Toddy 21 is 67. Plus 20 for Musgrove is 87. Plus 20 for Manny is 107. Plus 11 for Jake the Snake is 118. Plus 10 for Robert Suarez is 128. We haven't even talked about Luis Arraez in there. What did I just say? The total was 118.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Haven't touched on Michael King's arbitration number.
Jackson Merrill.
Haven't touched on Jackson Merrill. Who's still going to be way early in that process. We don't have to overly concern.
Oh, by the way, you need a left fielder, you need a catcher, you need bench pieces.
Yes. Oh, they lost Joe Musgrove.
You need a starting pitcher or two.
And their payroll
bullpen pieces.
And their payroll a year ago was what? In the 160s or something?
I think it topped out at one.
Their adjusted payroll total was 171. Guess what it is for right now for 2025 with no players? 154. They have very little wiggle room.
So the AAV is the number, not what they're making next year.
Yeah, exactly. That's why this math isn't perfect, obviously. Right. Yeah. The AAV is more impactful to the CBT numbers.
Yes.
Anyway, the point is the point, which isn't the exact dollar figure. The point is they're getting squeezed in payroll. And they'll have to make, once again, like the Juan Soto move. I'm not saying they have to make some massive, crazy move, but they are going to have to be smart, and they can't bring back all these players that we hope that they bring back. Maybe they can to an extent in 2025, but you start talking about 2026, and you're not going to have all these players on extensions is the point.
Yeah, that's why the more you talk about it now, so close to when they got eliminated, you just get more depressed because you're like,
oh, great. That was my goal.
All of these players, they're not going to be able to bring back. And it felt like this was the year. Like Tanner Scott, thank you, but you're gone. You're not. He's looking for a contract upwards of 65, 70 million, I want to say, to be a closer somewhere.
Yeah, no chance.
No shot.
None. Ha-Seong Kim, I would say no chance.
I would say no
Why
chance.
would he take an $8 million option?
He's not.
He had a new agent.
Yeah, and he hired the new agent. Exactly.
Yeah,
thank you.
He's not. He's gone as well. The Joe injury sucks because now you need to get another pitcher, and it's the 20 million dead cap there. So you can't go out and sign a pitcher for 20 million because then it's like you're paying 40 because it's like Joe, the replacement for Joe's making this, and then Joe's making 20 of dead money. So it's brutal there. I still like their core. I still like their pieces they have. Just, because you traded away a lot this past year to get Dylan Cease and to get Luis Arraez, you're going to have to become pretty creative here once again this offseason to fill these holes. I mentioned it last segment.
Mm-hmm.
Do you consider at all trading away Dylan Cease?
if I was doing that, if we start the show with Luis Arraez, and I'm going to consider trading either Dylan Cease or Luis Arraez, it's not even a conversation for me. As much as I love watching Luis Arraez hit, there's no conversation.
Well, I asked
if you had to trade one.
I asked that because you can get infinitely more for Dylan Cease than you could for Luis Arraez, and we know pretty much 100%, almost close to that he ain't coming back because he's a Boris client.
Right. And what's he going to make next year?
And I do think that this past year has to play some type of role of like, is Dylan Cease the guy? Is he going to be the ace of the staff, or is he just going to, do what he did this past year, which was show amazing moments where it looks like he is the best pitcher in baseball, and then come up incredibly short like he did in the postseason? I mean, his postseason was awful. I'm not saying trade him because of his horrible postseason. I'm just saying trade him because, one, you need a lot of pieces. Two, you got 1 year left. He's not coming back. And three, is he like
the guy?
The guy.
Okay, here's my answer. I thought about it for 60 seconds. There's no world where I trade Dylan Cease. And let me tell you why.
Okay.
He makes no money by starting pitching standards. He made $8 million this year. Even if you give him a 50% bump, he's making 12. I need that $12 million pitcher towards the top of my rotation. He had a 3.47 ERA, which is good enough. It's good, and it's good enough. You wish it were to be a little better. And he was a 4.2 WAR pitcher with a 1 WHIP. You're going to get him for $12 million, which is less than Luis Arraez. You have to have starting pitching. It all is predicated on that. So there's no world where I'm trading Dylan Cease. There is a world, and I don't like saying it, but in this tough decision world, there is a world where I would move Luis Arraez. Can you get more for Cease than Arraez? Yes. But there's a reason why Luis Arraez has been traded 3 times.
I would hope that they would look elsewhere to create.
I'm with you on that.
Than having to trade a 3-time batting champ.
I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. I would prefer to trade Jake Cronenworth. I would prefer to, I'm just looking at the spot track. Here, where's the money? Bogarts can't be traded. Darvish can't be traded.
Man.
I'm just, you know what I mean? Musgrove, of course not. Manny, of course not. You would never. Tatis, you would never. Crony, yeah, you would. You absolutely would. Suarez is coming back. He's affordable, $10 million. I'm just like, where's the money that you're freeing up on this team? Ha-Seong Kim, you're going to free up a little bit. He's got that option.
Yeah.
But where's the money that's going to get freed up? Arraez, arbitration eligible, more money. Dylan Cease, arbitration eligible, more money. Michael King, arbitration eligible, is going to get more money.
Tell you what, man, the more we talk about it,
it feels like the last offseason.
Yeah, and it won't happen. But God, that Bogarts contract looks worse and worse every single year.
Yeah, contract's awful.
It's just one of the worst contracts in baseball. Nothing against Xander Bogaerts.
Yeah, exactly.
But man, that thing creates so many problems. Because if you didn't have Bogaerts, you could fill the needs that you have right now, this offseason theoretically, or at least have the better opportunity to fill those needs instead of having to try to become uber creative to do that. It's just every time I hear Xander's name when it comes to offseason moves and they need to do this and they need this,
he's limiting them.
God, I get so upset and frustrated with that because he is unequivocally the problem when it comes to roster construction.
So in 2023, their payroll, this is Kevin Acee at the end of the season piece. We referenced it a little bit this week. 2023, their end of the season payroll was $265. I mean, amazing number.
It'll never be that.
Never. Last year, $169. They dropped $96 million from the payroll and won at a higher level to their credit. But he writes here, the Padres are committed to a payroll closer to 2024, obviously, than 2023. There is a belief among some Padres fans that now that they went under the CBT, it's been quote unquote reset, that they would go over it. But that's not the reporting of Kevin or Dennis or AJ, if you follow the story over the last year. So I'd be surprised if they went back over the CBT.
Well, what we do know is you can win with $170 million payroll.
Yes.
You can win a World Series with that.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they have to have $170 million. Yeah. No, you can win with that. You just got to be you got to be extra uber creative when you have these awful contracts on the roster creating problems for you.
Yes.
That's what the problem is. It's not the overall total number for the payroll. It's who you have already on the payroll that creates these problems. Like Michael King, like I said, the comp for him, in my mind, is like a Kevin Gausman. Kevin Gausman, when he turned 30, that's when he blossomed. And he had an all-star year with the Giants. He went to free agency the next following offseason, and he signed a $110 million contract, or $111 million, I forget the number, but over $100 million with the Toronto Blue Jays. Michael King will be 30 next year. He blossomed this season. If you're going to get a contract extension done with Michael King before he becomes a free agent, if I'm Michael King, I'm saying, hey, 5 for 115 or 5 for 110. That's where I'm at. Kevin Gausman became an all-star at 30. I became a really good frontline starting pitcher at 30 as well. 5 for 100 and 10 maybe, right? And that's difficult. I think that could be easily done if you didn't have stupid Xander's contract, or if you didn't have the dead money of Joe off of going on Tommy John surgery.
There's another way to do it with the rotation that we will share on the other side that is cost effective for the Padres in 2025, and that's next. San Diego Sports 760 is giving you a chance all week to win a 4-pack of tickets to San Diego's largest nighttime Halloween event, SeaWorld's Howl O Scream, going on now. Through November 2nd, 5 terror-filled houses, new scare zones and haunts, and death-defying drops of rides after dark, themed food and bars, and the master of ceremonies when all the creatures get released, Jim. Tonight you won't dare venture alone. For more information, visit SeaWorldSanDiego.com. We're thinking about creating the competition and making it like a Padres team.
Yeah.
I know it's on a wall like the CBT number. Put the roster together.
You know, when you like leave your house and get something, oh, my wallet, or like my keys, or or my phone.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
I feel that way when Twitter doesn't work. I feel like, oh, what's happening? And right now, Elon, your site sucks. You suck. Your site sucks. Fix it. What's going on here?
Here's the thing. You can't say that it all sucks when you're that dependent on it.
Well, I know.
Okay.
But
It'll get fixed.
I think
Have you ever had?
I think certain things suck. I'm dependent on it.
Have you ever had like your water out or like electricity out? Okay, well that sucks.
Yeah, fix it.
And then you deal with it.
Yeah, and then they do fix it. Yeah, SDG, fix it.
Elon, fix it.
Fix it.
I don't think it's like solely on him. There's probably people there that have to do. Anyways, Twitter's down, so you're freaking out.
No, I'm not freaking out. I'm kind of freaking out.
I have fixed the Padres looming
I'm just
payroll.
twitching.
I have fixed the Padres looming payroll.
Oh, great.
Issues.
Perfect. We are, what is it?
On October
16th.
I have
everything
the
is fixed, everybody.
I actually have a real legitimate
Are you listening, Eric?
answer. It's more AJ than Eric, but maybe it's both of them. Hopefully they're both tuning in from like a car. Maybe they're sitting in a car.
Or on the
somewhere listening.
iHeartRadio app.
Yeah, or on the app.
Or on YouTube.
They're like, I was about to go to the meeting, but let me just hear what they have to say.
They're scrolling on YouTube and the algorithm puts our video up to number
Up
one.
at the top, exactly.
They're like, oh, who's getting an extension?
So the Padres rotation obviously took a big hit without Joe Musgrove in 2025, and that's something they're going to have to deal with. How? Internal options, I guess, in the system. You could go spend a lot of money. You know, tell me the names. Blake Snell. It's not happening, but you get the point. Or you could go international with someone like Japanese young superstar starter Roki Sasaki, who is 22. He's about to turn 23 in just days. But he's 23-year-old pitcher who in his career in the NPB, the Japanese Professional Baseball League, is 30-15 with a 2.10 ERA. He's a right-handed pitcher. He's been bothered by injuries, and he's super young. But he's like Shohei, Jim, in that if he comes over, there's caps on the amount he can earn because of how young he is. So he's not like Yamamoto, who had no caps and made $325 million as a free agent. He's like Shohei, who had all kinds of caps but came over. And there's reasons why they would or why they wouldn't. The point is, if Sasaki's going to be posted, he's going to be available to a team for a very low dollar amount, like the Ohtani initial deal, not the Ohtani deal now with the Dodgers, even though they're paying him nothing. But the point is, Sasaki's going to be out there. I just don't know if I trust the Padres in their ability to get it done. They didn't land Seiya Suzuki. They didn't land Shohei Ohtani the first time around. There's other Japanese stars they have not landed. They've always been like close but no cigar with the Japanese superstar. Are they going to land Roki Sasaki this time around?
Do you remember the memorial service at Petco Park for Peter Seidler?
I do. Yes, absolutely. When Yu Darvish put the flowers down on the steps, you're saying?
No, when they had the
after FanFest or the weekend of FanFest?
No. It was open to the fans, and they had Manny speak.
Yeah, of course.
Preller speak, and Peter Seidler's brother, and our group, like, had other people speak inside the media about, or in the organization, about Peter. And when AJ spoke, I don't think it's a coincidence that in his speech he mentioned Roki Sasaki during the remembrance for Peter Seidler.
I don't recall exactly the.
I don't have the audio in front.
Yeah.
I just came to
how did that come about? Or what did he say?
He was talking about when he would talk to Peter about certain players and how excited Peter would get. And he dropped the Roki Sasaki name during this memorial service.
Interesting. Yeah, I kind of remember that.
And we know the connection between the Padres and Roki Sasaki already. We've seen Roki like literally working out in Padres gear. We know that Preller has scouted this guy heavily. It's not like the white whale, but it is a white whale. It is a target for AJ Preller. When he gets posted, you're going to see rumors of him in on Roki Sasaki, or maybe you won't because he's trying to fly under the radar. But he is a guy, 100% I can say, that the Padres will definitely be interested in and will definitely make a play for. I can guarantee that.
The only thing that I don't know about, maybe one of our listeners does, or someone can tweet at us, even though Twitter's down, bad example, or text us 70470 start with team, is that in order to execute on a player coming over from Japan, you do have to have like bonus money. You know, I'm talking about that international slot money, which again is only so much money. This isn't like the Ohtani $700 million deal or the Yamamoto $325 million deal. But there's certain teams, like I'll give you an example. The Dodgers have a couple of million in bonus money. The Yankees have 1.5. The Giants have 1.5. I don't know how much money the Padres have in international slot or bonus money, which maybe is a factor. But then again, if you're Sasaki and you're coming over for a couple of $1 million, is the money the driving force? Because if you wait until you're 25, for example, like Yamamoto, you get $325 million. You come over now, you're getting like peanuts compared to that. So there's more motivation than just money. Same thing with Ohtani. When he came over 7 or 8 years ago, you think it was about money? No, he made nothing. But he was a marketing machine that on the other side of it just got $700 million. So I don't know. My point is, I don't know if money's going to be a factor. And if it is, do the Padres have enough in the international slot bonus part of it? I have no idea.
Well, money's always going to be a factor right now with this team, with the payroll being what it is and the constraints that you have and the amount of wiggle room that you don't have to make moves. Like, it's always going to be a factor. You know, we'll talk to Kevin today at 5:00 to kind of talk about the offseason and, you know, ask him like, hey, with the money that this team has in the offseason, how is that going to work out? You know, and again, these things have been reported on, but they always change. They always are different. Like, we heard a lot that the payroll would be around 200 million this year. It wasn't. It was 170 tops. Like, they kept that thing below the CBT number. They kept that number to a place where they felt like it was manageable. Can they keep it at 170? If it dips anymore, it's going to be really hard for you to build like a roster out with veterans and other players that might be asking for some medium-sized contracts and not have to go down in your farm system and bring up guys that maybe aren't ready yet.
How can you dip off 3.2 million fans, postseason revenue?
You can't.
$96 million less from last year. I mean, how much dipping are you doing here? I mean, if you're off $500,000, okay, but like, you can't go shed this thing another 15%. No. If anything, you should be bumping it up 15%. I mean, that's from our vantage point. I don't have a look at the books, but they drew 3.2 million fans. They're top 3 in baseball. They just had postseason games at Petco Park. Like, you want to draw 3.2 again?
Yeah.
You got to go circle the wagons. Now, they're going to draw in 2025. I mean, they were just in the postseason against the Dodgers. Right. They drew all in 2024. They're going to draw in 2025, and I hope they can sustain this payroll because they know they're going to draw 3 million fans.
I will hold off reservations of Eric Casenda and whoever else, Eric Grupner, until I see the start of next season. If the start of next season happens and they have a lower payroll than they did this year, it might be pitchfork time, because that can't happen.
If it's at the start of the season, did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, it would surprise me.
You can't have that. I'm sorry. Eric Casenda, bro, guys, I know the TV deal is a problem, but that's your job to fix it. Eric Grupner, you got to fix it.
And you can't raise the price of the tickets, which they've done.
You have to make
and not use that.
You drop this payroll, it's pretty close to pitchfork time from the fan base. Like, you can't do that. You cannot drop the payroll, especially with the horrible contracts that you have on this roster that's eaten up so much of it.
And I don't think they will, but if they give us indications that they will, and they did give us indications a year ago, they traded Juan Soto. I mean, they shed money left and right a year ago, and they still made it work, but you can't do it again. It's obviously, to your point, an awful look. We'll get to the wrap on the other side. We've got a 4-pack of tickets to SeaWorld's Hell, a Scream to give away. Kevin Acee will join us at 5 p.m. 2 more hours of Jon and Jim. Don't go anywhere.
All right, this update is brought to you by Toyota Carlsbad. Relaxed and friendly since 1972. Yankees now have a 2-0 lead in the ALCS as they beat the Guardians last night at Yankee Stadium. Game 3 will be tomorrow afternoon in Cleveland. And Game 3 tonight between the Dodgers and the Mets at Citi Field. Luis Severino against Walker Buehler is the pitching matchup. 5:08 first pitch there. Toyota Carlsbad is open during construction. Save today with low APR financing on approved credit on all new Tacoma gas models. Offer ends November 4th. See specials online at toyotacarlsbad.com or visit Toyota Carlsbad today.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour 2 of Jon and Jim. Less than an hour from now, Kevin Acee with a kind of bow on 2024. What did go wrong against the Dodgers? Spoiler alert, they didn't score. And then we'll look towards the offseason and what will their payroll number be? Kevin has been reporting on that, so we'll talk to Kevin. We'll try to answer our questions coming up at 5 p.m. We do have a 4-pack of tickets to Howl O Scream. It's a SeaWorld's Howl O Scream. We'll give those away later this hour. We will be at Broken Yoke, SDSU on Friday from 3 to 6. You can join us there. We'll be talking San Diego State men's basketball.
Yes, and
Why are you looking at me
I
like
will
this?
be telling Caroline, stop trying to make me eat all this food.
So you are drawing a hard line. You're very concerned about being forced into the omelet challenge.
Yeah, as I know her, and she'll be like,
All right, now you know her.
we got it. We got it. I'm like, what? And
Okay.
they'll bring it over to me. Like, good, eat it, Jim.
You'll be on air.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I kind of like that idea.
Like, I'm down. I love to like try food, but when you tell me you got to eat this big ass meal,
Brent, would you try this if you could get the ingredients the way you wanted? But if he could do it without onions,
Yes.
you would do it.
I would try it, but not in a million years could I finish it.
Jim doesn't finish things, remember? He doesn't finish books.
True.
When we get donuts, he'll eat like half of every donut. He doesn't eat like the whole donut.
I've really never seen you eat an entire large meal. Like today, he actually had a large sandwich from Jersey Mike's. It was like a legitimate like sandwich. Like it looked big, and then you're like, "Yeah, I ate it. Oh, I saved a few bites." Like, I've never seen you never just eat everything.
Well, because when I just get full, when I'm like I'm full, I just stop eating. I don't eat until I finish. I just eat till I get full, and then I stop.
That's kind of how it works.
That's what you're supposed to.
But what if a meal's larger than what you usually consume, and when you eat half of it, you're like, "Oh, I'm full." Then you have a half left. You're like, "Oh, you don't finish your food." Like, no, I ate till I got full. I get full very easy.
I feel like in the office where you like look to the camera, like I'm looking at like, is this a serious conversation?
You asked.
No, we
me.
understand how it works. There's other human beings though that eat all the food.
Okay, it's great.
You're not them.
No.
Right. So you don't want to do any challenges, but you're Mr. We go downtown, you're eating fried Twinkie this and fried Twinkie that.
Yes.
So you will eat food on Friday. You just don't want a 10 omelet challenge, right? You'll
Correct,
try a little this, little that.
Yeah.
Oh, you'll sample.
I'll
sample.
Yeah, bring over a sample of like pancakes or the buffalo fries or burrito or whatever other things they want to bring over. I'll sample the hell out of it.
Okay, you'll sample the hell out of it.
Yeah. But if you're asking me, hey, Jim, here's the omelet challenge at Broken Yoke. Good luck. That's not going to happen.
You have 3 hours to complete. Just sit there in a corner and eat it while
that's
John
not
does the show.
No, not going to happen.
Okay. So if you want to watch Jim do the omelet challenge, get to the Broken Yoke SDSU on Friday at 3 p.m. where Brian Dutcher will join us. Nick Boyd, the FAU transfer, will join us. Miles Bird, entering his 3rd year on the Mesa, was on the national championship team.
Just think how impressed Dutch would be when he sees you eat like 30 eggs.
Don't you want to impress Dutch?
He'll be like Cool Hand Luke.
No, he'll be disgusted by it. He'll be like, "What are you doing?" I'm in the corner like,
I can't breathe.
I'm like the guy from It's Always Sunny in Philly where his like gut is just hanging out. I forget his name. And he's just like
Mac.
And he's just like, ah.
You'll be the Monty Python, the thin wafer mint.
By the way, they're pretending in New York like it's 2 degrees. I just saw Tom Verducci, and he's wearing like a full-on parka. What is the temperature in New York?
It was 52 yesterday.
It's not 20. Like they're treating this thing like it's the coldest day in
53
postseason.
degrees.
53 degrees.
Give me a break.
Otani's in a t-shirt. There was a lot of conversation, and we can get to the wrap coming up soon. Like, look at this. What is he wearing? He's wearing a lot of layers, right?
Where's Mr. Ken Rosenthal? Or is he writing more hit pieces about Manny Machado?
I need to write one more thing about the Padres. I'll be there in a minute.
I wonder.
Hold on. It's 53, but the feels like it's 44.
Okay, so it's probably windy or something.
Yeah, it's pretty windy.
It's not hot.
10 to
Soft.
19 mile an hour gusts.
What's Jim gonna say?
Soft.
Yeah, and we say that. And if it was 44 true temperature in San Diego for Game 3, we would
say,
jacket.
if it was
freaking
60
out.
at Naughty Barrel, you'd be like,
Oh
God,
my
it's so
gosh,
cold.
we freaked out about that all year.
2 sweatshirts.
Oh my gosh. There was a lot of conversation yesterday about dropping Otani in the order. This was asked to Dave Roberts. They elected not to do it. He will lead off here today.
That's great.
Let's get to it.
It's time for the wrap. Presented by Sombrero Mexican Food.
Assignment.
Check out their
My God,
website
who cares?
at sombreromex.com.
Truly, who cares? I don't care. I don't care. I literally
I
do
think
not.
some of our listeners do care.
Nobody cares about where Ohtani's batting in the Dodgers lineup in Game 3 of the NLCS versus the Mets.
70470. Start with team. Do you care?
Just text no.
Who's the Heisman favorite at the season's halfway point?
You saw this with Travis Hunter on a podcast talking with
He's like,
RG3.
Ashton Jensen, people have done what he's done.
Yeah.
I'm like, have they though, dude?
He's like, no one's done what I done. I'm like,
they actually have played
they actually
both
have
ways.
both ways.
Yeah. Desmond Howard?
Desmond Howard is the last guy to win a Heisman who played both ways.
Yeah.
His dad.
Look.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we've seen Bo.
Yeah, there's lots of people who have done what he's done.
Yes. Right. Right. You're talking about Shador's dad. Deion is a great
Sanders.
example.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Travis Hunter.
He's great, but the numbers aren't gaudy, right?
Okay. Here's what Ashton Genty has done so far.
That's a joke.
Through, what is it, 6 games?
It's
Six games.
Yeah.
126 carries for 1,248 yards. He's averaging 9.9 yards per carry, and he scored 17 touchdowns.
He's averaging a first down per carry.
He's going to have well over 2,000 yards rushing. He could have damn near over 30 touchdowns scored.
He might set the all-time rushing record that Barry Sanders holds.
I hate these debates because it's like, who's better, Travis Hunter or Ashton Genty? Guess what? They're both freaking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
They're both freaking awesome. And I think if you look at Travis Hunter's numbers here, defensively, he's been really good. Offensively, he has what? How many catches? 49 receptions for 587 yards and 6 touchdowns. That's really good.
That's a lot.
He also has at least 1 interception on the year, maybe 2. He has 2 interceptions and 1 forced fumble. He has 16 total tackles. 3 pass defended and 5 assists.
Here's the Heisman Award for your 5 assisted tackles.
But my point is, both of them are awesome. If Travis Hunter gets over 1,000 receiving yards and has 3 interceptions, dude, whoever wins, I'm not going to sit there and be like, can't believe the other guy didn't win.
It's got if that's the final stats, 100 receptions and 13 receiving touchdowns, even 4 or 5 picks, it has to go to Genty. If Genty gets to 33 touchdowns and 2,442 yards, I mean, we're talking about things that aren't done. And if they are done, they're done every quarter century. I understand Boise State doesn't get the same. They're not playing the same schedule as Colorado or as Michigan.
Where's
That's
Steve
understandable. Yeah, honestly, we might need to get Hartman on the show.
I know that for Heisman voters, they don't count in usually their team records, right? But if Boise State makes the college football playoff as the at-large bid, or excuse me, the non-Power 5 bid, and Colorado's not going to, doesn't that play a factor in it as well?
You're saying if Boise has the better year in general, like they go 11-1 in Colorado,
Boise makes
7-5.
Yeah, Boise makes the college football playoff.
Yeah, it matters. I think it matters.
Okay.
Absolutely. Ashton Genty. Now, I don't know if he's going to do this all year. If he doesn't, then maybe not. But if he does do anything close to this all year, Ashton Genty. Next question.
Who wins tonight's pivotal NLCS Game 3?
Take the Mets. Luis Severino against Walker Buehler. Walker Buehler, last time out, gave up 6 runs. Against the Padres, the last time the Padres scored in 2024. I think the crowd's going to be crazy in New York. The Dodgers bullpen, it's cold. The Dodgers bullpen is pretty taxed. I'll just go with the Mets tonight. If you take the Dodgers, you got to leave the show.
Yeah, I really like the Dodgers. No, of course. I told you yesterday, I like Severino still potentially pitching twice in the series from here on out.
3-7.
Again, he hasn't been amazing, but he's been good enough. Yeah. And his numbers are better than Walker Buehler's, and he's at home. I like the Mets tonight. They're not some big favorite. In fact, they might be a slight underdog tonight somehow. But, yeah, I'm looking at this. Dodgers minus 113 tonight. Give me a break. I'm taking the Mets at home. Take that 2-1 series lead like the Padres did, but this time, hold on to that series.
Finish it off. Don't
finish it off. Yeah. Next question.
Jim, should the Dodgers drop Shohei Ohtani in the order?
It's in the wrap.
Next question.
I wouldn't do it. The same reason why I wouldn't change the Padres lineup. Now that backfired. Maybe they should have.
Should hit him ninth.
Yeah, back-to-back leadoff guys.
Yeah, hit him
essentially.
ninth.
Right.
That's fine, right? So then it gives the graphic people at Fox Sports the opportunity to put up more graphics.
He's coming in 9 spots.
Right.
But what's the advantage? Because he hits well with men in scoring position, and there's no one in scoring position when you lead off the game. Basically.
The advantage is he's 6 for 8 with runners in the scoring position.
And he's not
0 for 18 with runners not in scoring position.
Right. True. I say leave him where he is, and hopefully he goes over 49. Next question.
Who reaches the bigs first, Ethan Salas or Leo DeVries?
I'm gonna go. You saw that piece by who was it? Was it Dennis? Talking about the possibilities of maybe both of these guys making the bigs in 2025.
Yeah, it was right in the aftermath of the season. I didn't want to deal with it.
It was like I'll discuss it later,
Yeah.
and we'll discuss it more as the offseason goes on. But to answer your question, I'll go with Ethan Salas, just because I think they view him in such a high regard, and defensively he's well beyond his years. Offensively might be an issue, but defensively, I think he could, be in the bigs the next couple years. I wouldn't do it. I would let him still continue to bake down in the minors. Same thing with Leo DeVries. But now Preller has a track record of see, it worked with Jackson Merrill.
I will make the case on the other side in terms of what to do with both of these players in 2025. All right, so we'll do that. What they should do with both Leo DeVries and Ethan Salas in 2025, plus your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to SeaWorld's Hal O'Scrim, and Kevin Acee joins us at 5 p.m. This is Jon and Jim. right, Kevin Acee. He will join us at 5 p.m. San Diego Sports 760 has 13 chances for you to win $1,000 every weekday. With the inflation vacation, listen to the nationwide keyword at the top of every hour from 6 a.m. through 6 p.m. and enter it at sportssd.com. I wouldn't, Jim, and you said this 5 minutes ago, you would leave Salas and DeVries in the minors, let them properly develop. You probably wouldn't entertain promoting either in 2025.
No.
There is no world for me where Ethan Salas, who this year had a terribly slow start in Fort Wayne and hit 206 in 111 games in advanced A and is how old right now is 18. There's no world for me where he's in the big leagues at 19. You got to take your time with him. And then Leo DeVries is even younger. He turned 18 5 days ago on October 11th, and last year in A-ball in low A Lake Elsinore hit 238. What's the rush?
But he did have an OPS of 802.
In the Cal League, where my OPS was 801 because it's like playing on the moon.
I agree with you. Jackson Merrill kind of feels like a little bit of an anomaly, but even Jackson Merrill, when he got called up, was 20 years old. These guys have not reached 20 yet. Like, unlike Jackson, they've had, a lot of time in the minors so far. Jackson skipped a lot of levels and he came up and he just day one clicked. I don't think you should tempt fate with two other more guys just because Jackson Merrill at 20 years old, skipping some levels, came up and became an all-star. You need to treat everybody as such. And I think that while both of these guys have just incredible amounts of talent, they're so talented. Luis DeVries, he's a guy that it just looks like he has that it quality to him. Ethan Salas, I don't know if he is going to be a power hitting catcher, but defensively, you're like, whoa. So Leo DeVries, Ethan Salas, these two guys, I still think you got to make sure that they're ready and seasoned in the minors before you bring them up and put them at a big league level, where if they don't right away contribute or show that they belong, then it's going to be the yo-yo effect, and then you're in trouble. Not everybody's Jackson Merrill. But
even Merrill was not 18.
No, he was 20.
And he was about to be 21, and that's still a credit to him.
Yeah.
But Salas turns 19 June 1st. So that's not almost 21. No. And then DeVries turns 19 next off season. These guys should not be impacting your big league club as 19-year-olds or younger. They just shouldn't be. And I would say it's probably a disservice both ways. You're trying to prove a point by doing it. If you get Ethan Salas to the big leagues as an 18-year-old, you've proved a point. Hey, look, we got Ethan Salas to the big leagues.
Well, I also think if they bring them to the big leagues, that's a kind of sign that we can't go out and make the moves we want to make. So we got to look internally, and internally, these are our best guys.
No way.
I'm with you.
You know what I mean? Like,
I'm with you.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, all of a sudden, you got yourself in a quagmire. I've never used that word once.
Giggity.
I don't even know what that means. But you get yourself in this quagmire,
Giggity.
And now you've got an 18-year-old catcher at the big league level. That doesn't make any sense. I've got my Machados and Tatises, these veteran players, paired with an 18-year-old. Let the guy develop. He can be up when he's 20 or 21. We've had so many conversations with people about catchers not really impacting a big league team until they're in their early 20s. He's years away from being in his quote-unquote early, like 22, 23 years of age.
Yeah, catchers, it's completely different.
Giggity. Did that make sense?
No, it didn't make any sense at all. You have to say quagmire first.
Quagmire, giggity. That makes sense.
Here's the other thing, John. You can't
say something I don't know
when you don't understand what's being referenced there.
Okay, fair.
At all. What was I saying? You totally just
18-year-old catchers.
You don't see many 18-year-old catchers like come up and boom,
Zero.
right away. They look like Pudge Rodriguez or Buster Posey or JT Realmuto offensively for JT Realmuto. But Adley Rutschman, like, you need a little bit of seasoning first, guys. Leo DeVries, maybe. But even then, if you bring him up to be your shortstop, because you need to put Xander at second base because you already went down that path this past offseason. Why are you moving him back to short? Are you kidding me? An 18-year-old shortstop? No. I'd rather have Fernando Tatis Jr. go back to shortstop than having Leo DeVries be the starting shortstop of this team.
If Leo DeVries is 391 next year between high A and double A, I'm going to congratulate you. It's an amazing job. You hit 391.
That gives you
Perfect.
a lot of promise
for the future. And same thing with Ethan Salas. If he hits 350 across double A and triple A, good. That's a positive thing. That's not a bad thing for the organization. All right. On the other side, we've been talking about kind of payroll constraints in Major League Baseball with the Padres. What about the impact of NIL on the Aztecs? They've got the nation's sack leader in Trey White. Trey White today spoke with the media. Will San Diego State retain him for 2025? San Diego. We'll hear from Trey White on the other side, plus your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to SeaWorld's Howl O Scream and Kevin Acee at 5 p.m. on Jon and Jim. All right, hey guys, it's Jon and Jim, and the NFL season is here. It's better than ever, and making picks on Underdog is straightforward, and signing up is even easier. Win up to 1,000 times your money just by choosing higher or lower, Jim, on your favorite player's stats, like touchdowns or passing yards.
Yeah, just head over to Underdog's simple-to-use mobile app or UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with promo code Jon and Jim, JONANDJIM, and Underdog will give you a free pick to use on your first cash pick-em entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit.
What do you think about higher than a half passing yard for Bo Nix this upcoming weekend? We like it.
What do you think about higher than a half home run for Francisco Lindor tonight?
I like that as well. Go to the mobile app or UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with promo code Jon and Jim. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code JONANDJIM to claim your new customer special of a free pick and your deposit offer.
Must be 18 years or older and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms do apply. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. This update's brought to you by Total Carlsbad. Relaxed and friendly since 1972. ALCS. Last night, game 2 between the Yankees and the Guardians. Yankees now have a 2-0 series lead as they head to Cleveland for game 3, which will be tomorrow afternoon, 2:08 first pitch there. And tonight, Dodgers and Mets, first pitch about a half hour away from New York. Luis Severino on the mound for the Mets against Walker Buehler for the Dodgers. Toyota Carlsbad is open during construction. Save today with low APR financing on approved credit on all new Tacoma gas models. Offer ends November 4th. See specials online at toyotacarlsbad.com or visit Toyota Carlsbad today.
All right, coming up this hour, your chance to win that 4-pack of tickets to SeaWorld's Howl of Stream. We'll let you know what to call at some point in the next 15 minutes. We'll have that for you. And Kevin Acee for the final time in 2020. So many memories, man. Talking to him, being in Naughty Barrel, not being able to hear him, losing connection.
Yeah, it was fun times.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So we can relive
memories
all that.
to last a lifetime.
Kevin Acee, a final time this season coming up at 5 p.m. If you have a question for him, 70470. Start it with the word team. We've spent 90 minutes on the Padres. We've talked a lot about payroll, and it's huge in baseball without obviously having any type of threshold. I mean, there's the CBT, but there's no cap. So you have teams like the A's that spend $20 million, and you have teams like the Dodgers that spend $400 million, and they're playing the same sport. This is playing out in college athletics. We talk about it all the time. There's about to be essentially a cap at the power level, plus there's NIL. San Diego State has one of the nation's premier defensive players. His name is Trey White. He leads the nation in sacks. It's not particularly close. He's 11 sacks in 6 games. ESPN was
Is that good?
posting about him within the last 24 hours. He's been amazing. All right. Out of East Lake. And he was moved from linebacker to edge rusher, and he's just been completely unleashed. And he could be on his way for a 20-sack season, which is ridiculous. So can they keep him? Is where your attention turns, because that's what college athletics are right now. So this was an interesting back and forth from, I think, Kirk Kenny with the UT and Trey White today after practice on the Mesa at San Diego State. Listen to this.
Yeah, I'm not really worried about that right now. I'm just worried about trying to finish up the season, finish strong, and, just trying to finish out with all wins. And whatever happens. But I love San Diego State, and they've been nothing but great to me ever since I've been here.
Since you're from San Diego, does that make you maybe hold on closer to staying here?
Yeah, I would say so. My family's here, got a lot of friends here, but yeah, I still love San Diego State no matter what happens, and it's always been a great experience, and I just want to leave a legacy here for sure.
How tempting is it though when you hear about all that NIL money that's out there and see the other things going on in college football?
Yeah, it's crazy world right now for NIL and stuff like that, but the grass isn't always greener on the other side. So, I just want to have my best shot to make it to the league, and wherever that is. I know SDSU could get players out to the league, so wherever that is, that's where I'm going to be at.
I don't hold anything against any college athlete if they decide to go somewhere because the NIL money is better, or they have certain reasons why they leave a certain program. Like Lamont Butler went to Kentucky. Elijah Saunders, he left for NIL money. Like, I don't hold anything against these guys because that's the climate of college athletics now. Does it suck? Yeah, it does. Do fans think that they're, you can't believe you walked away from this program?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just the way of college athletics, and the only way to combat it and make sure guys like Trey White don't leave is support the Mesa Foundation and support Aztec Link.
Yeah, I think you said it really well. I mean, you could argue that the gap is widening between quote unquote haves and have-nots, because you could just say that oftentimes that in football, maybe there's a desire to go from group of 5 to power 5. And then in basketball, the collectives get more intriguing as you move up the ladder, right? I mean, so that's always going to be a possibility. Shoot, I think it's impacting, honestly, all programs at all levels, because even like the Ohio States are trying to fend off the Michigan States in basketball, or in football, like the Michigans are trying to fend off the Tennessees. Like, it's happening at all levels. It's a little bit like we talk about sometimes, Jim, with baseball. We're like, oh, maybe this player will have a down year and his extension won't cost as much. Well, you don't want that either. No. So you just got to hope that Trey White finishes off a magical season. Like, you want him to get the 20-plus sacks. Who does that? Yeah. He's already halfway there. Why would you want anything else? And then you hope that You may be able to keep him. He is out of San Diego. He's been here 3 years. Red shirt as a 2022. Played sparingly in 2023 as a linebacker, and now has just completely
unlocked.
Yeah, he's just unlocked everything, and he's had 10.5 sacks in his last 4 games.
Is that good?
And 11 for the season. He's had all these 3 sack, 4 tackle for loss games. It's just ridiculous stuff. And Ashton Jeanty stayed. I don't know if that's going to be impactful or not, but Ashton Jeanty, I'm told, got calls from everywhere. I've heard the behind the scenes chatter.
Didn't he get paid a boatload of money at Boise?
I think,
all of the NIL money.
it would be out of turn for me to say it's nowhere near what he could have gotten.
No, yeah, he could have gotten.
He could have easily doubled up, maybe tripled up.
8-9 million, maybe.
No. I was thinking 800,000.
Oh, I was going to say 8-9 million.
No, he's getting 8-9 million.
That's like Archie Manning. Right
Yeah,
there, right?
exactly. But
And
it's a running
Shedeur
back out of
Sanders.
Boise.
Sorry, I don't. Yeah.
But let's say he's getting a few 100,000, but he could have gotten more hundreds of thousands. But he
Yeah.
said, you know what? This is the spot for me. They've utilized me well. They've sold me on the vision well. And by the way, look, it's worked out beautifully for Ashton Jeanty. You think he has any regrets? I don't.
He's going to get drafted probably first, second round in the NFL and make millions of dollars.
Exactly.
If he stays healthy.
So is the same thing going to happen with Trey White? To your point, you're never going to, I'm not going to begrudge him for making a decision that's best for him and his family. And B, you don't know. Maybe there are players like Ashton Jeanty. Remember, Lamont Butler, before he went to Kentucky, returned for his senior year.
Yes.
So it's easy to put all players in one big box and say, well, they're all the same. They're all chasing the exact same thing, but it's not true. Some NIL matters more. Others, education matters more. Others, pro opportunities matter more. But, are you thinking about it if you're an Aztec fan? What's on the other side for someone like Trey White? Of course you are. How could you not be?
I'm thinking about 2 guys. I'm thinking about Danny O'Neal. I'm thinking about Trey White.
Mm-hmm.
That's who I'm thinking about. Quarterback, edge rusher. Those are 2 of the, if not 2 most important positions on a football roster. Also left tackle and offensive lineman as well. But if you have in college football, you got a stud QB and you got a stud edge rusher that can get you 15 sacks a season and a quarterback that can throw for maybe 25 touchdowns. Those are imperative to make sure you keep on that roster. And if you don't have NIL money, that's going to be tough to do that.
Yeah, I was just saying, it might have been to you, and maybe it's been on social media or somewhere, that, San Diego State right now, at 3-3, got off to, a slower start. What were they, 1-3?
They're 1-3. No.
They've won consecutive games. They beat Hawaii, then they followed up with a win over Wyoming because they're 2-0 in the league.
Yeah.
So they got off to the slow start, 1-3, and they played some power competition. They had a new head coach, a whole new roster, essentially. But then you look at some of the individual pieces, there are real pieces here, legitimate, high level. Chris Johnson's a cornerback. He's had a terrific year. Danny O'Neal, the young quarterback you just referenced. Trey White, the 11 sacks. I'm missing out on a million players. Marquez Cooper is the 5th-year player. Of course, he can't be back.
So the receivers they've had.
Yeah, there's great skill here. There's a lot to love.
Poke.
And honestly, it feels a lot to me like Major League Baseball. It's can you build around a core and can you put the pieces around the core on the edges and win at a high level? I think the Padres were able to do it in 2023. Can the Aztecs do that in 2025? Can you keep enough of a core that you build around your core? And at the Group of 5 or Mountain West level, can you win at a high level? They might be able to do it. Jim, let's say they go 6-6 this year. They're halfway there.
I think that'd be an incredible season.
It'd be a very good year.
Everything,
schedule, and
circumstances.
But then all of a sudden, you got a little bit of something to go off into the offseason, and all of a sudden you turn 6-6 into 8-9 wins. You're going somewhere, right? You got some momentum under Sean Lewis. If you can turn this into 6-6 and then turn that into 8+ wins next year.
We'll also see just how great of a recruiter Sean Lewis is if guys like Trey White, Danny O'Neal, Poke. I think Lewis Brown, is he a senior?
No.
Okay.
In my brain, but I could be wrong. He's not.
Some key guys, are they going to look
Junior
to see what's on the other side, or are they going to stay here and try to accomplish something that has been instilled in this team or try to be instilled in this team every single day, which when we talked to Danny O'Neal yesterday, it was about winning championships, winning Mountain West Conference championships, soon winning Pac-12 championships, soon hopefully getting into the college football playoff. are we going to see if they're going to stay and try to accomplish those goals, or are they going to look elsewhere?
I know we can recruit because when you look at recruiting rankings and the same thing last year, they were
recruiting rankings. Let's go.
I mean, recruiting rankings matter.
I know.
You get 4 and 5 star players, and oftentimes they're good players. And San Diego State right now in 2025 recruiting rankings is either first or second in the Mountain West, either right in front of Boise State or right behind them. So he can recruit. Obviously, NIL matters, to your point, whether it's Aztec Link with football, Mesa Foundation with basketball. NIL is absolutely imperative for the future of San Diego State athletics. All right. Good talk. Kevin Acee will join us at 5 p.m. What's your first question for Kevin today, Jim?
How are you doing?
Beyond that,
Should the Dodgers move Shohei down in the batting order?
Right.
what's your first Padres-related question for Kevin Acee today?
Number one priority this offseason.
Ooh. I like that.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at series versus the Dodgers, like, what more is there to dissect?
Yeah, that's where I'm starting. What went wrong?
Well, I
I'm
mean,
writing these down.
what? Okay. Does he feel like they pressed too much? Does the feeling in that clubhouse feel like they pressed? Like, when he talked to players, is that the vibe that he's getting? That they pressed? And that they, like, would you? Hey, here's your question. Would you consider this a choke?
You're going to ask Kevin that?
Why not?
I don't know.
He's not on the team.
He's not? You're right. Okay.
Like, Kevin, would you consider what the Padres just went through a choke job by them? Being up 2-1?
Well, you'll follow up. I'll ask what went wrong. He'll say whatever, and then you'll say, was it a choke?
I like how this is just playing out
Let's
on
just
air.
play out, and then we'll ask, what's your priority this offseason?
Okay.
Then we can talk about payroll.
Okay, I like that. Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? Put it at 70470. Start with team.
Okay. Jackson Merrill contract extension.
Yeah, Jackson Merrill. Love that.
Luis Arraez, Michael King, the players that we've talked about a lot today.
All right. We'll get to that with Kevin coming
Giant
up at 5
omelets.
p.m. Yeah, giant omelets.
Giant omelets.
All right, but call right now if you want a free 4-pack of tickets to SeaWorld's Howl O Scream going on right now through November 2nd. Great prize valued at hundreds of dollars. A free 4-pack of tickets to SeaWorld's Howl O Scream. All you need to do is call 877-767-4760. Again, call right now. First 2 callers will be our contestants for trivia. We need you to call right now, though. 877-767-4760. Pick up your phone and call right now if you want a free 4-pack of tickets to SeaWorld's Howl O Scream going on now through November 2nd. Again, the number to call, 877-767-4760. First 2 callers will be contestants. Then Kevin Acee at 5 p.m. It's Jon and Jim. All right, Kevin Acee, the final time here in 2024. We'll put a bow on the season, look ahead to this critical offseason for AJ Preller, Eric Kinsenda, and the crew. Critical offseason for the entire team. And Kevin Acee will join us coming up at 5 p.m. Yeah, that's basically what's going on, right?
That's pretty
the
much
deal.
it. Game 3 NLCS, where you're so concerned about where Otani's hitting.
Oh, he's hitting leadoff.
Great. I'm sure they'll put up the graphic here very soon.
He's right. How many batters to Otani? 0, because he's leading the game off, like literally.
No, they would do how many minutes until Otani?
Well, not that many, probably.
Like 21.
21
Is that what it
minutes.
is? Okay.
21 minutes or something like that until Shohei Otani gets in a bat.
Isn't it nice living in the West? There's a zillion reasons, but obviously the weather. But then they're also starting this game in New York City, what, 8:10-ish Eastern?
Well, it started first pitch is 5:08.
Well, so, okay,
8:08.
8:08. You're in New York. Nobody's 2 minutes away from their house. If the average commute's an hour to get home or more, it's a late night.
And it's cold.
And it's cold.
Yeah.
It's cool tomorrow.
I don't mind the 8 o'clock start, especially if it's a postseason game. I don't care when it starts. I'd rather have it start late than early. Like, I'd rather have an 8 o'clock game than a 1 o'clock game. But yeah, West Coast wise, it's just so much better. The timings of things are just so much better.
So much better.
6:45 start instead of a 9 o'clock start. Oh, give me a break.
What's the 9 o'clock start?
If you were back east and your team's on the road versus the Padres.
Oh, yeah, 9:45.
9:45 start.
9:40, yeah. Back in the day, more 10:10-ish.
10:15.
Yeah, 10:15. Yeah. No, that sucks.
How? Why? Stupid.
Well, because of time zones.
No, I know, John. I get that.
All right, let's get to it.
Time zones.
All right, 3 questions, 2 contestants, 1 lifeline. Today's 2 contestants, we have Chuck and we have Christian. Chuck, you called in first, so you have your choice of John or Jim. Who do you want to go with?
I'll go with John.
All right, this is Chuck.
Yes, Chuck
And John.
and John. And then Christian, you get Jim, okay?
Sounds good.
All right. Brent, what is the question of the day?
Okay, I was waiting for someone to finish backing up their truck. All right, guys. Only 9 players have rushed for 400 or more yards this season in the NFL. Today's question, name any of those 9 players that have rushed for at least 400 or more yards this season in the NFL.
All right. Christian, you're up first. What's your first guess? You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry on the list. I think he leads the league in rushing. Chuck, up to you. Your first guess. You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
I'm sorry, did you say players or running backs?
Players.
Lamar Jackson.
Ooh.
Lamar
I see
Jackson.
what you did there.
Wow. Christian, back to you. Second guess. You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
I'm going to go with Jordan Mason.
Jordan Mason.
Oh, Christian McCaffrey who?
Exactly, right?
Right.
Chuck, what's your second guess? You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
I do want to use a lifeline.
This is easy. I think. Saquon Barkley.
Do you take that?
I agree with that, yes.
Boom. I know you had that big game in Brazil.
Christian, back to you. Final guess. You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
I will use the lifeline.
Oh, Jim.
Trying to think here real quick.
That's a first.
Did you already say Saquon Barkley?
Yeah,
we did.
We already said Saquon.
Yeah.
I'll go with Kyrene Williams of the LA Rams.
Okay.
Not a great guess, but that's all I got for you.
He was injured.
I know.
5 seconds.
Oh, I thought.
Okay, let's do Josh Jacobs.
Josh Jacobs for the points.
Oh!
Wow.
There we go. And Chuck, to send this to overtime, you don't have a lifeline, so it's all up to you. What do you got?
Oh, this is not a good guess. I'm going to go with big fan Seattle, Kenneth. Shoot.
5 seconds.
Okay, I'll go with Joe Mixon.
Joe Mixon for the tie. No, and it's over. Was Jim's boy on the list?
No.
Oh, Mr. I have red zone and all the packages, and I can watch all
He's
the
12.
football.
Sorry.
Christian wins because he didn't use your lifeline.
Correct. He's smarter than me. Kenneth Walker, is he on the list? That was Chuck's trying to get
Right.
there.
No,
He was not on
okay.
the
So
list.
this thing was over. This thing was over. Who is on the list? Who we miss?
Dunzo.
All right, Derrick Henry's number 1. Jordan Mason is number 2. Cuba Hubbard, or however you say his name.
Chuba.
Yeah.
Shuba.
Yeah. He's Cuba now.
Cuba Gooding Jr.
Yeah, exactly. Show him the money. Saquon is number 5. Josh Jacobs, actually, Saquon is 4. Josh Jacobs was 5. J.K. Dobbins was 6.
Right.
Alvin Kamara was 7. And there was a tie for 8th between James Conner and Lamar Jackson.
All right, Christian, you have won a 4-pack of tickets to San Diego's largest nighttime Halloween event, SeaWorld's Howl-O-Scream, now through November 2nd. For more info, visit SeaWorldSanDiego.com. All right, we've spoken enough about the Padres. Let's hear from our Padres insider, Kevin Acee. We'll see you tomorrow. Now, Kevin Acee will join us on the other side for a final time here for the 2024 season. So we'll put a bow on it. We'll look ahead to this critical offseason with our Padres insider, Kevin Acee, to kick off hour 3 of Jon and Jim. That's next.
This update's brought to you by Total Carlsbad. Relaxed and friendly since 1972. Game 3 NLCS versus the Dodgers, between the Dodgers and the Mets. Moments away from first pitch at Citi Field in New York. Luis Severino on the mound for the Mets against Walker Buehler for the Dodgers. And Game 3 of the ALCS will be tomorrow afternoon as the Yankees have a 2-0 series lead over the Guardians. Toyota Carlsbad is open during construction. Save today with low APR financing on approved credit on all new Tacoma gas models. Offer ends November 4th. See specials online at toyotacarlsbad.com or visit Toyota Carlsbad today.
All right, hour 3, Jon and Jim, and for a final time here for the 2024 baseball season with our Padres insider, Kevin Acee. It was all going so well last Friday, and by so well, I mean they were still playing.
Right.
But life comes at you quick, and the Padres, unfortunately, are in their offseason. So, Kevin, I mean, for you, this is like, it's like two lives, right? During the season and during the offseason, and you've kind of transitioned to this second life, and thanks for coming on.
Yeah, I have. It's a little bit of the transition period. You got to get ready for the beginning of November when the World Series is over. But for the most part, yeah, I'll be checked out a lot the next few months.
All right,
as we will too.
No, don't say that on the air. But yeah, probably
I'm
true.
always checked out.
All right, Kevin, how do you look at what happened over the last two games? Dodgers are good. Doesn't mean the Padres aren't good because they didn't play their best baseball over the last two games. But like, as you kind of summarize it and wrap your arms around it from your perspective, just how did it go so poorly with them not scoring and really not having an opportunity in either game 4 or game 5?
Right. I mean, especially like you can say the 9-0, they didn't have opportunity. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. But they did have like chances, like with runners in scoring position, a few more hits, things change. They get a couple hits. They alter Dave Roberts' plan with the bullpen. But then, yeah, the next game, like nothing. I mean, nothing. It's the kind of stuff that happens in the playoffs. Where your offense goes cold and you don't have that opportunity to overcome it. You know, that's like the incredible difference between June and October, or July or August and October. And it's what happened. It's almost like inexplicable in terms of like it wasn't. I would definitely look at Manny Machado and even the last couple of games, Fernando Tatis Jr., but you can't really look at him. He had an incredible postseason, but you could look at almost everyone in the lineup. I think the best hitter in the series was Xander Bogaerts. If you take out the first couple, obviously Fernando was the best hitter in the series, but you go over the course of it and you get like 270 or something. Like this was not a good offensive team in the National League Division Series, except for when they beat up on the bullpen and not the real guys for the most part in what was it, game 2 where they won 10-2. So it just they sort of imploded, and it would be really easy to say what everybody says in these moments, like they choked, but I mean they had a bad couple games and it was at the absolute worst time.
What then? How do you define it then? Like, do you find it as they just all collectively pressed, or is it that's just baseball? You face some good pitching and you didn't hit the good pitching. Like, how would you define it then if you won't go down the road of like choking?
Well, because I have a lot. I use that word at the absolute last resort because of, and you could say it's because I spend too much time around these guys. I say, I respect what they do. So I'm going to use that at the very sparingly in
Right.
my career. Pressed, I'll go for it because those weren't great at bats, man. So yeah, I'll go for it. I'll say they pressed, which I think is different than choking. They pressed and it got worse. And I also will say the Dodgers bullpen pitched the heck out of that series. I mean, that was as good as you can be, basically. And now, look, they haven't fared so well since, right? So it's not like that's an invincible bullpen. So, but Jack Flaherty did well in his start in the NLCS, and the Padres got to him at least in the first 3 innings. They did not do well those 2 games, and it's the cruelty, it's the brutal part of the postseason that it's basically all we remember, and it's all we really want to talk about at this point. And I mean, that's understandable.
Yeah, it's kind of like the NCAA tournament in that regard. You can be a number 1 seed, but if you lose in the second round, people aren't going to talk about your 30-1 season or whatever. Kevin Acee, our Padres insider, with us right now on Jon and Jim. To speculate on it, and I know you report and cover on it too, but like, what would you believe to be among the first priorities here in the offseason? Whether it's, looking towards like a Mike Schilt extension or looking towards your roster and seeing what you can do with players you have here. I mean, where do you turn right now if you're the organization?
I would think that it's Mike Schilt, and I say that only because like that makes the most sense in terms of just getting it done and moving on. And I would think Ruben Niebla seems to be kind of a no-brainer, though from my understanding, not talks right now, but that shouldn't be like a thing. Ruben is from the area, enjoys the area. The team enjoys him. There's not a lot of I think, maybe one of the next steps for Ruben would be being a manager. And I don't know that there's that opening now. I just don't see I don't see how that doesn't come together. That would seem to be, but that's something that I'll have to be reporting on over the next few days, I would imagine. There is a lot to do, man. I think I heard your intro, and I think that anyone would think this team is in a better spot now than they were. What's today? October 15th of last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? There's a lot of work to do too, because the expectation here is that you are as good or better, and a lot of things went right. And one of the things that went right is they pulled off an amazing trade for Juan Soto, and it covered what ended up being their primary catcher, what ended up being Michael King and Randy Vasquez, and key piece in the Dylan Cease trade. You don't have Juan Soto to trade anymore, do you? So there's a lot to do, and there's some questions, and guys going into their final ARB years, and I just think it's a busy offseason.
Jackson Merrill, he's the guy that's going to be around for the foreseeable future, but locking him up is, I think, a priority on the list of things to do. It's not the priority, but it is a priority. How do you see those contract talks potentially going, and could they heat up this offseason, or do you envision them maybe waiting a little bit?
I would think that it would be talks, and I would think it'd be about 1,000 times more serious than last offseason.
Mm-hmm.
And I would think that, here's what I know to be true. Jackson Merrill wants to be a Padre forever. And here's something I know to be true. Jackson Merrill knows that Jackson Merrill's good. So I think there's a deal to be done. That's educated speculation. I think there's a deal to be done. I think that it's a deal that maybe gives him a little, it's not 10 years, but it buys out a couple of years of free agency, and it pays him. It doesn't break any banks. There's no records for this deal, but I would think that's where they go. And I would think that there will be those talks this offseason.
So you mentioned years. Do you have an educated guess on maybe money? Just educated guess. We're not going to hold you to it, Kevin.
Well, it's going to be in the hundreds.
Okay.
It's going to be in the hundreds, but it's going to be the low hundreds. So now you go longer. There's another way to go, right? Like I said, I believe that Jackson Merrill wants to be a Padre forever. I do believe that there is a deal to be done when you have a kid that is that committed to winning a championship and winning it with the team. That said, it's got to be a decent deal. But yeah, I would think that definitely like a real attainable 9-figure deal. Do I have that right? 100? Yeah,
I think that's right.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
when it gets up that high, I forget, like, sometimes, yeah, I think this is a deal that will be talked about how far it gets. But like I said, it'll be 1,000 times more serious than it has been in the past because it has to be because Jackson Merrill earned it. Like, it's no longer speculation. Now, there is some speculation, of course. He did it for 1 year in the major leagues, but before it was like complete speculation. So this is something where, but look, the reason that I believe the team gets on it and gets serious about it, and I'm not saying it gets done, but is that he has another year like that and it's over. Because, like, I'm not saying it can't get a deal done, but in terms of anything that could be team friendly, probably over, because at that point he's now earned his ARB. And he is going to make so much money in arbitration that, like, he's already guaranteed that, because that money, once it's up at a certain point, like if he has 2 years like this, like his first year out, where he's going to be in the 15 million range or something, like, and then it doesn't go down from there. So, I think that this is a really important year if you want to get the kind of deal done that would serve the Padres' purposes. And I think that there's that kind of deal to be made. Personally, I haven't talked to anyone about this specific idea on Luis Arraez. I have talked to people about how 13, 14, 15 million for 1 year is just too much. And so is there a deal to be done on Luis Arraez? I think it's probably the only way that he stays, I would think, because I just don't see 13, 14, 15 million for that guy. As much as they love him, as much as they said those things, I just don't think that's real. And then, like, in terms of it's real, like, hey, he's the most important thing to our offense. No, he's not. So that's just a lot of money. Now, Michael King, there's a guy. What's the comp on Michael King? I mean, that's going to be a tough one. And so is there a multi-year deal there for Michael King? Dylan Cease, was there a multi-year deal there? What direction do you go with Dylan Cease? Both Michael King and Dylan Cease are going to make bank this year. So there's a lot going on.
Well, you summarized it really nicely, and you had written about it in the UT within the week since the offseason, saying, payroll came down. I think you had it down 96 million from 265 to 169. So, and when you you kind of prioritize some things. To your point, you can't pay everyone. You know it better than we do, but you add it all up. It's like it's just math, and you're going to blow by 169 fairly easily. So you mentioned a lot of guys. One guy you didn't mention is someone coming off a career year in Jurickson Profar. He has expressed an interest in returning. I think he's earned a multiple year deal. How much of a priority is it to retain his services, and what kind of deal could he be looking at this offseason?
Man, I mean, I think he could be looking at, from what I understand, as 10 a year for 3. I mean, he is going to be 32. He did have 1 year. I think he's probably more important to the Padres. Like, they know the importance of this guy more than anyone. So there's another one. You are correct that I think it would probably have to be, like, for both sides. Now, of course, he's got to be a free agent. So, that's all out there. There's no control. So what does Jurickson want to do? Look, Jurickson went and found out what happened last time. He's obviously in a better position this time, but he's also 2 years older. And so does he find out that, or did he find out enough that, hey, I want to stay here, and I don't know, 324, 3 years, 24 million. I don't know. That just threw that number out. Don't put any stock in it. That's worth it, because certainly he believes he's worth more than that on the open market. But, he's obviously he said it, and he's shown it, extremely comfortable here. The best, whatever it is, 4+ years of his career. And certainly this year, that's the reason we're talking about it. Who thought we'd be talking about that in February when he signed for $1 million, and the guy ends up making $2.5 million this year by having the best season he could. Look, I think he was huge. I consider him probably right behind Jackson Merrill, and for a while I was pushing for Manny Machado, but I think if I sit back and I think about it, I'm thinking Jackson Merrill, Jurickson Profar, like, in terms of your guys that really made a huge difference this year, and I put Manny right behind one of those guys, and maybe Tatis right there. I think we forget how good Tatis was at the beginning of the year, but what I'm saying is Jurickson Profar was huge. So I'm a huge Jurickson Profar guy before, right. But, like, he didn't finish great. He is going to be 32. He does, like, if I'm thinking from the team's perspective, like, how much am I really going to pay for this guy? That said, he is a factor on this team in so many ways. So yeah, it's another big one. And like, it's just we can go down the line. That was what was so cool and what is so devastating for them this year. There were so many good things. So you also have to remember, like, oh my gosh, like, is all this stuff going to go that good again next year? So they got some work to do.
Yeah, like I think we can all agree AJ Preller had a fantastic year, and it's rare you see a general manager hit on like 95% of the moves that he has made in the season. And to follow that up with another season of having to hit 95% of the moves you make, it's just difficult to do. Final one from me, Kevin. When do you expect them to speak, Preller and Schilt? And is there like a sense in this organization of like still shock from actually what happened? Because it felt like everybody felt like this was it. This was the team. This was the team that was going to finally break through. It's, first time in franchise history to win a World Series.
Yeah, I mean, they're already talking. I mean, I'm not saying that I have no knowledge in talking about an extension, but they're what they're doing right now is their debrief, right? And they're kind of like setting the table for moving ahead. I mean, right away, we're talking about 2 weeks from now, I believe, maybe it's 3, but first week of November, right after the World Series, the GM meetings. I mean, there's no rest here, right? They've been talking about that actually for a while, like in terms of what are we going to do next? Certain people in the organization have. So that's what they're doing right now. In terms of when they're going to talk, I really don't know. But like I said at the start, like I think that's probably one of your first things. I do.
Kevin, we've enjoyed it. We always appreciate it. Do you have any trips or travel planned for the offseason or what?
Too many trips during the season. So what I do is I pretty much hang out, man.
I like it. It's a good place to hang.
Yeah. Not a bad place to hang.
No.
It's nice here.
It is just
it's like a vacation every day almost.
I was just to that point though, on Jim's point, like it's so abrupt. Like
Yeah.
from up 2 games to 1 against the Dodgers to Ha-Seong Kim.
It takes a while to come down from.
Yeah.
And for the players, everybody, you go through these stages. They do. I'm not saying I don't have like the stages of grief like they do, but yeah, like I mean, from fans to us to like the players, like it is incredibly abrupt. We all could have been like in New York right now.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
This is abrupt. Yes, it and then you kind of, and it does. It takes me a few days to even go, oh, okay, all right.
I know.
The off season, and then it took me a couple days to go, oh, okay, there's still some work to do for a couple weeks. Okay, yeah, it's something. The baseball season is crazy.
We'll talk to you in 4 months from Peoria. Thanks, Kevin.
Yep.
Enjoy.
Thanks,
Take
Kevin.
care. Kevin Acee. Reaction to that conversation next, Jon and Jim. All right, what if you could be debt-free by this January? Get rid of all that high-interest debt, pay off all your credit cards, consolidate everything into one lower payment. Hey, guys, it's Schaefer. If you're ready to stop stressing over bills, you need to call Loan Pronto right now. With rates at their lowest in 2 years, this is the perfect chance to use your home's equity and save big going into the new year. Loan Pronto's got rates with APRs in the low fives, and they're getting homeowners hundreds of thousands out of their home's equity. Homeowners who do this save on average $850 a month. Loan Pronto offers a ton of options, including total refis or their express equity lines of credit. So call now, get a rate quote in just minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. Call today and you won't make a house payment until 2025. LoanPronto.com or 619-207-4336. LoanPronto.com. Free rate quote now at 619-207-4336. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781 on approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org. All right, so our conversation with Kevin Acee, maybe we'll push that back tomorrow. Because the most interesting thing for me, and maybe there's more in there too, he's like, Arraez gets up to that 13, 14, 15 range, even for next year, which I think is where he is with arbitration. It's like you might be looking elsewhere. You might be thinking about moving him.
Or he mentioned probably better to get a deal done with him long term instead of having to do arbitration.
Sure.
Like in order to keep him, you got to get a long term deal done with him.
Yeah, like 5. I'm making this up now. 5 for 60 is 12 a year, as opposed to paying him $15 million for next year.
Right.
Something like that. I'm just throwing it out.
Yeah. If you can have that AAV under 15.
Right. Maybe like
in a long-term contract.
That's where the long-term with someone like him makes sense. Because he should hit for average, and he's only 27. So if you give him a 5th year, you give him a 5th year.
Yeah. And it would make it easier if you got rid of Jake Cronenworth. I know people are like, oh, I love Jake. I love Crone Zone.
Yeah, but you don't love his production.
I don't love his production. I think he's declined it's a fact. You look at his stats, he's declined every year, and he had an awful postseason and an awful September, and he wasn't hurt. He was out there fully healthy from what we know, and he was awful. I think that the logjam they have, if you could get off of that Jake contract, it's almost like a swap, maybe a couple $1 million added per year for Arraez. But if you told me right now you got to pick one player to keep, Luis Arraez or Jake Cronenworth, to me it's not even a question.
Close. The other thing that he said was on the Merrill extension idea that he figured would be in the low 100 range, but he also said something about it not wanting to be in what? Wasn't he talking about, or maybe he was talking about a rise in the 13, 14, 15 per year?
There's a rise.
Okay, but he wouldn't speculate on years for Merrill, but if you're getting to the low 100s, you're talking 7-8 years because you're buying out basically arbitration years and extending his time.
You're competent to Corbin Carroll's contract,
which was, what'd you say, 8 for 111?
Yeah,
I think you said.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I'm looking here, Corbin
Carroll.
Yes, I know Corbin Carroll. All right, here we go. Spot track. So 8 years, 111 million. His average salary is 13.8. Next year he's making 5.6. The year after that he's making 10.6.
But it doesn't even matter in the AAV world, right? It's just whatever it is divided by the years.
Yeah. And he doesn't start making big time money until 2029. So in 2029 for Corbin Carroll, he makes 28.6, 2030, 28.6, 2031, club option for 28 million. And he's an unrestricted free agent, 30-32. I would look at this deal and I would craft something similar to this for Jackson Merrill, where the AAV comes out to around 13.8, right? And then you don't have to worry about arbitration, and then you buy out the however many years of free agency.
The interesting thing there, though, is the point I've been trying to make. He's like, you wait another year on this, and he replicates his year, and all bets are off. He's making $200 million.
That's why you get it done after a year like this.
That's the thing. I said extend him out.
You almost, not always, but smart teams get deals done after you have, like, they got a deal done with Tatis after he blossomed in 2020, right? And it was a short year, but he was incredible, and they got a deal done. I think if he stays healthy, that deal looks pretty decent. But if he doesn't stay healthy, it's awful. Same thing with Corbin Carroll. He had an amazing rookie year last year for the Diamondbacks, helped lead them to the World Series, got a deal done in the offseason. Same thing with Jackson Merrill here.
Yeah,
he had an amazing year, off-season. You got to get something done. Even if he has a down year next year, I think the belief inside that organization is that they trust him and the makeup of him and just his demeanor and the way he goes about his business. You feel comfortable giving a guy a 9-figure deal like that.
I mean, based on what we saw and based on the possibility of not paying him and what it could cost you on the other side, I think you got to be prepared to come to him with a really good, friendly for both sides deal. But this offseason.
And also, when we talk about payroll, if you give him this deal, well, then next year he's going to bump from $800,000 to potentially like
12 mil or something.
Well, I don't think it'd be 12 million.
Yeah, but it is. No, it is an AAV.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
It doesn't matter what they pay him. You're right. They pay him $2 million, but that's more liquidity. That's a cash
Yeah,
thing.
that's right.
The
Because Ohtani's AAV
impacts the
is,
CBT.
yeah, the AAV for Ohtani is like 40, but he's only
they
getting paid
cheated.
2.
Well, they cheated.
They cheated. I
They
know.
legitimately cheated that, and I will go to my grave with
Yes.
that.
Yes.
That they cheated that system, and I'm talking to you, Dodger fans.
Yes.
All right. The NLCS Game 3 is underway, plus more reaction to our conversation with Kevin Acee, plus Jim's back page. Stay with us. All right, hey guys, it is Jon and Jim, and we've been telling you about our friends over at Jamul Casino for a few months now. And this is an incredible time to get out there. If you haven't been this year, now is the time. NFL action each and every weekend, plus Monday Night Football. They got great promotions. In addition to that, the MLB playoffs are well underway. Jamul is your spot to go this October.
Yeah, Monday in October, you're going to have a chance to win big with 10 winners every hour, 7 p.m., 8 p.m., and 9 p.m. Your odds, they're better than ever. Their Onyx players will receive an extra $100 in cash bonuses on top of their winnings. Plus, you're going to earn entries all month long by playing and getting 2-time entries on Tuesdays with at least $500 in cash for all winners and a chance to win up to $25,000 in cash.
Wait until you see Tony Gwynn Sports Pub. Great food and drinks, all the televisions, amazing memorabilia, by the way, from Tony's career. In addition to that, Jamul has endless dining 5 nights a week. Their endless dining options include Saturday surf and turf buffet. They've gone over the top. Perfect combinations of succulent steaks, delectable seafood, and more.
Yeah, get to Jamul Casino all football season long and all MLB postseason long as well. Jamul Casino, it's fun above all else. This update is brought to you by Toyota Carlsbad. Relaxed and friendly since 1972. NLCS Game 3 underway in New York. Mets and Dodgers are scoreless top of the second inning there as the Dodgers are threatening with runners on second and third and 1 out. ALCS, Yankees have a 2-0 series lead there. Game 3 will be tomorrow afternoon in Cleveland. Toyota Carlsbad is open during construction. Save today with low APR financing on approved credit on all new Tacoma gas models. Offer ends November 4th. See specials online at toyotacarlsbad.com or visit Toyota Carlsbad today.
All right, the Mets are following the script. No score in the second inning. But like you said, the Dodgers are threatening it 2 on and 1 out. In front of the second, third. This is the most the Dodgers capitalize on this type of inning ever, which is like the whole swinging bunt, and they throw to the wrong base, followed by what should have been a ground ball double play, but the dude bobbles it in the field.
And then they score 2 runs here from a base hit by Will Smith, who is hitting 087 this whole entire postseason with 1 hit, and the 1 hit was a 2-run homer in Game 4
against the
Padres.
Now, that hasn't happened yet, but it is scoreless with 1 out in the second inning. The Mets are hosting a championship series game for the first time since 2015 tonight, and the Dodgers are already threatening off Luis Severino. Second and third, 1 out for Will Smith. This could have been us. Well, that actually would have been games 1 and 2.
Right. This would still
be in New York right now.
But it'd be in New York.
Could have been the Padres with second and third, 1 out.
Correct.
In the second inning.
Correct.
Off Luis Severino.
Correct.
So we'll keep you updated. I'm kind of curious right now what happens here with 1 out, truthfully. So I'm just going to, can I do live play-by-play? Do we have the express written consent here from Major League Baseball? We haven't gotten express.
We don't have it.
Okay.
We don't have it yet.
Still waiting on that.
It's pending.
And Monday Night Football.
It's pending.
What else was our takeaway from talking with Kevin? Abrupt. He wouldn't call them chokers.
No.
Was willing to say they pressed.
Yeah, I go that far. I think they, by not showing up in Game 4 and 5 and the way that they played,
right,
it's really still hard for me to not consider them to have choked. I don't think that the team is chokers. I just think that they collectively choked in the series. Like, it's just, that's what it is.
The chokers implies that they do it all the time. Every time they are in a situation, they choke. Yep. Saying they choked, we're just talking about this one specific time.
By the way, the most ridiculous inning.
Can Luis Severino, I don't know,
maybe have
field a baseball?
What do they have, like a designated hitter? The Mets need a designated fielder for Severino.
Just have someone out there.
3 consecutive, I could be wrong on this, but
John Lester's like, geez.
3 consecutive balls hit back to Severino. What are we doing? Everything's off his glove. Runs are scoring. Nothing's leaving the infield.
They should just bunt to him every single
Field
time.
the ball, man.
Well, maybe it's actually kind of good that his glove, because that ball is about to go up the middle.
Or maybe I have a better idea. Glove it.
That's
and then no run scores.
That's you. Yeah. Back to the word choke, which is still, I think. I mean, I was thinking about this again this morning. I'm like, dude, because the trolls are still in our Instagram page.
I know.
All over social media.
You've been replying.
I have been replying.
You have been replying.
I just laid down last night and I showed you that today.
I was laughing.
Probably like 15 messages that I replied.
Right.
Nothing like, I didn't like go vulgar. Or
no, you didn't go crazy.
But a lot of Dodger fans and a lot of Dodger fans in the chat.
Right.
In the Instagram.
Yeah.
They don't really make sense. Like, a lot of their comments don't make sense. They don't know how to spell. They don't have, I think they don't make sense. It's just funny to see. But yeah, the Padres, Kevin Acee wouldn't go as far to say they choked, but there's really no other way to go about it.
It doesn't really matter what words you use. They had a 2-1 lead and they were at home.
They blew it.
They did blow it. Now, let me ask you this. Would it have been more of a choke if they led in either or both of the games?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's almost like to their credit that they didn't compete. Because if they led like 3-1 in the 8th inning of Game 4.
If you put it like that.
If they led 3-1 in the 8th inning of Game 4 and then they lost and Suarez allowed a 3-run bomb, like, this is a complete choke.
But at least they would have showed some fight.
We would have felt no better.
If
they blew a 9th inning lead.
It's like, they're up 3-1 in the 9th inning. They lose 4-3.
We lost our minds.
Yeah.
Speaking of losing our minds.
Oh my goodness.
Gosh. We don't know. Oh my. Okay. So the Dodgers have a 2-0 lead in the second inning, following the greatest catch in baseball history.
It's better than the catch by Willie Mays.
Jeez. But I felt so good about this game from a Mets perspective. Home, cold, Severino, Buehler. I like the Mets here today. And of course, it's the Dodgers with soft infield hits that have a 2-0 lead.
John, it's early, bro.
Is it? Yeah, it is. It is.
Early.
It is.
Give it time, man. Give it time.
It is.
It's okay.
Okay.
It's all right.
What else did Kevin say?
Michael King. He one player that we haven't talked about.
Oh, Jerkson, he talked about.
He did.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Higashioka, he didn't mention him there because he is a free agent and Do you bring Higgy back on like a 2-year
What's
deal?
that cost?
I don't know. 2 years, 15 million. 2 years, 12 million.
What did he just make this year?
I have no
You
idea.
should know. You don't know the Higgy numbers?
I don't have the.
How
Higgy
do you
numbers in
come
front
on
of me.
the air with that? No, he made $2 million as a 34-year-old. I'm not paying him $15 million for a 2-year deal. Are you?
No chance.
No. Like, how about 2 years, 6?
Perfect.
Right?
2 years, 6. I'm
Yeah.
done.
2 years, 6.5.
But Higgy's can't be your everyday catcher.
And is he going to do what he just did?
17 home runs.
High
unlikely.
OPS.
He hit 20 total this year for the Padres because he had 3 in the postseason
yeah.
and 17 in the regular season. Can you get that same production if Higgy comes back? I kind of doubt it. He went on a heater in the middle of the year and had like one of the best offensive months for a catcher and in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you look at the like slugging numbers for whatever month he went off in, it was like Ohtani, Judge, Higgy. That was the top 3.
Yeah, I remember.
And he's 34. I think he's a great vibe guy. I think he's a great clubhouse guy. He loves San Diego, obviously. But they're going to need more. Is Luis Campusano ever going to take that next step? Ever?
I don't trust him too. By the way, Higgy turns 35 in April. So is what you'd call like an old 34. Yeah, I mean, I don't need, honestly, if you can get him at the team price, yes. But if he wants like $8 million a year, no.
Right.
Is how I look at it, because is Lightning going to repeat with a guy that, even with everything, Jim? Again, I mean, 100 OPS plus. Like, he's an average big league hitter. Yeah, he had a lot of power. I just don't know if he's going to do it again as a 35-year-old.
It goes back to our point of this. If you run it back, which I think a lot of Padres fans are going to want to do, because why wouldn't you try to run it back on a 93-win season? You are going to run into problems. I guarantee it. And by problems, I mean guys that performed well this year, that this may be like close to a career season, probably aren't going to replicate it next year. The only player, if you were to say right now, of Jerkson Profar, Kyle Gashioka, Donovan Solano, David Peralta, Jackson Merrill, there's only one guy in that group.
Merrill?
And it's Merrill.
Yeah, everybody, that's not easy. The sophomore year thing is a real thing.
Yeah. And everybody else, I love Jerkson Profar. Hard pressed to think he's going to have an 850 OPS next season and hit 25 bombs.
That's a really good year.
Love Higgy. Hard pressed to think he's going to have 17 home runs and close to an 800 OPS. Peralta, Donovan Solano, great band-aids for the problems the team had this past year. And they became really good glue guys, but there's a reason why they were like on their couches to start the season.
Jerkson Profar's OPS from August 1st on was 746.
Closer to his career.
That's the thing. Like, is that what you're buying when you sign him for a 2-year deal? And his OPS, by the way, in September for San Diego was better than that, 818.
They should just like give him a contract and be like, look, the only way you're making this money is if you perform. We think you suck. And then he goes out there and proves everybody wrong because he likes to be slighted.
You mean the contract they just gave him?
Oh, yeah, that one. The $1 million
$1
one.
million deal with incentives is basically the deal that. Yeah, I know. It's interesting. Heading into the offseason, I don't know if the GM meetings are in Carlsbad. I presume they are.
Okay.
But to Kevin's point, they are the weekend after the World Series, which are about 2+ weeks away.
I wish I clarified this to Kevin. I didn't ask him when you think Preller and Schultz will be speaking to each other. I was asking when are they going to speak to everybody?
Right, the media.
The media,
they're
the
speaking
fans.
right now, Jim. You're an idiot.
Like, no, I meant the fans.
Right.
But it's okay. It's semantics.
All right, Darnay Tripp has chimed in on the text line. And by text line, I mean he has chatted us. We'll share what he had to say on the other side.
Okay.
Plus Jim's back page coming up next. All right, the Aztecs may have off this weekend, but we still have a full slate of football this weekend on San Diego Sports 760 Saturday. South Carolina travels to Norman to take on.
I'm not listening.
On Saturday, South Carolina travels to Norman to take on.
Still not listening.
Yes, you
What
are.
are you talking
South
Norman?
Carolina travels to Norman. Take on who plays
Norman. It's on the tip of my tongue. I don't know who.
Oklahoma.
Oh, Oklahoma.
Then Sunday we have an NFL doubleheader with the Eagles taking on the Giants
Ooh.
at 9:30 a.m. and then Raiders Rams 105.
Ooh.
Okay,
I
so
like it.
keep it locked in to San Diego Sports 760 all weekend long. Now you were telling me that you weren't going to do the back page because you don't have access to Twitter, but you do have access to Twitter.
I don't have
tweeting.
I don't have access to Twitter.
How did you tweet about Kevin Acee?
I went around the corner into our break room where I'd have to use stupid Wi-Fi because the stupid Wi-Fi here is preventing me from using Twitter, and that's how I tweeted out.
Maybe I shouldn't have asked.
Yeah.
Okay, but you do want to do the back page?
Yeah.
Okay, then let's do it.
Burger King introduces a free Big Dip ranch sauce with any sandwich purchase. Burger King and Hidden Valley Ranch are teaming up to bring Big Dip energy to the next meal that you order. Two brands are they're collaborating to offer innovative dipping experience with large 8-ounce Big Dip cups of Hidden Valley Ranch, designed for Whoppers and other BK sandwiches. These extra large cups, a big upgrade from the usual 1-ounce containers, will be available at select Burger King locations starting today.
See, John's like got this smirk on his face. It's not what you think it is, John. I just looked at the picture. You know, like how if you would buy a thing of ranch for like carrots or like a veggie platter, it comes in like a bigger container so you can dip it.
Yeah.
They're just giving you one of those instead of giving you the little teeny tiny packet. You can dip it. Yeah,
you have more dipping possibilities.
For ranch lovers, Hidden Valley is offering a limited supply of Big Dip cups online for $1. You starting on October 16th through the 18th. You can order that online. So,
do you like ranch, John?
I do.
I like ranch, but I tell you what,
I like ranch, but I don't love ranch.
This promotion makes zero sense to me.
Yeah, because couldn't you just ask for more dipping?
Makes zero sense. I would never think about dipping my burger inside of a ranch.
Well, I wouldn't do the burger, but I'd do like chicken sandwiches or something.
Right. Why? They don't give them to you? They charge you?
Well, they give you like a couple, but they're pretty skimpy with it. So they'll give you barely enough for what you need.
Yeah. I like ranch with pizza, Jim.
Me too.
Yeah.
So not a lot. Maybe a little.
Burgers and ranch is
maybe
weird,
a little
pizza,
like pizza with hot honey sauce.
What? I never done that.
You never had like pepperoni pizza with like hot honey?
I've never had pepperoni pizza.
Oh, that's true. You're right.
Ever?
No.
Not even as a child?
Not even as a human.
Oh my God.
Brett literally wants to like end the show and cancel everything. I've never had pepperoni pizza in my life.
Burger King
You just said that.
is treating customers to a spooky what is this?
Spooky ranch packets.
No, it's I'm trying to think of the acronym.
The show is so bad.
BOGO, B-O-G-O. Bring your own. Wait.
Buy one,
I won't get one.
Are you
Jesus.
freaking serious? What are you talking about?
Oh my God. Buy one, get one. I'm so stupid.
You're such an idiot.
I'm so stupid. Buy one, get one.
You're like, BOGO.
You stupid idiot.
What was he saying?
BOGO. I thought it was
Beforehand.
bring your own. That's so stupid.
Jim was wondering why he almost gets arrested every
Oh
BOGO
my
sale he goes to.
Hey, Alvarez, hit the ball, you idiot. Burger King is doing a special on October 17th. For members of the Royal Perks program, you can score a free purple bun Whopper with the purchase of one at a regular price. So Burger King is giving you a free Whopper tomorrow, purple bun, if you order.
If you bring your own.
If you bring your own.
Bring your bun and they'll give you a burger to put it in.
And make sure it's purple. Oh, my goodness. Pizza Hut is giving away 1 million free pizzas until October 31st. Pizza Hut is celebrating National Book Month by giving away. What do you have? What do you do?
Alvarez struck out.
Stupid idiot. He sucks. He really does suck.
Does he?
He's awful. Ask any Mets fan. He is like
a good pitch.
The bane of all like the Mets like
existence.
Existence is this stupid idiot. I'm a little too far.
Tell us how you really feel.
Okay, Chris Jericho.
What is it here? Pizza Hut is giving away to anybody, kids or adults, a free pizza. No reading required because it's like a book program. To get yours, you need to place an order online or via the app with a minimum purchase of $8 and use the code BOOKIT40 at checkout.
I was just going to say, this is just the personal pan pizza, right? Because it's Book It.
Yes, it's the...
Do they still have that in schools, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I do remember that. I do remember that. Yeah.
Like every book you read, you get a free
I do
personal
remember that.
pan pizza and like a little button and stuff.
Yep, I do remember that.
It doesn't say the size, but it looks like it's like the...
Are you going to do this, Jim? Read a book and get a pizza?
Finish a book and get a pizza?
No.
It's been going on for 40 years, Brent. I just looked it up.
Yeah.
The Mets love to load the bases and not score a run.
Did you just see that swing?
That was a horrible swing.
The ball was 4 feet away from his bat.
Hey, Francisco Lindor, do something. You're supposed to like be
Have
their
you ever
best
hit a grand
player.
slam before?
I've never hit a grand slam before.
But Lindor has.
That's great. Finally, Chipotle is bringing back its popular
burrito.
No, burrito deal. BOORITO
for Halloween.
For the 24th year in celebrating Halloween. On October 31st, Chipotle rewards members who visit a restaurant in costume can enjoy a $6 entree from 3 p.m. until closing. So you can get a whole entire meal for $6 if you wear a costume.
What's scary? Why is it called burrito? What's scary about it?
Well, it's a Halloween deal, so like boo, like boo.
Right. Yeah, that's a good offer. $6.
Yeah, $6. How you doing?
That's a really good offer.
All right, that's all I got.
All right, that's what Jim has. We are watching a NLCS game between the Mets and the Dodgers in the second inning, where the Dodgers lead 2-0, but at the bottom of the second inning, the Mets have loaded the bases with 2 outs for Francisco Lindor. Can Walker
Buehler's up to
work
49
out of this?
pitches.
Wow.
50th pitch coming
That's
up right
a big
here.
number.
Oh,
don't swing at that.
That's up and in, bro. He didn't swing.
Wow. Should we just keep it here?
Well, we have about another minute of the show, so yeah, we'll have to keep it here.
I kind of want to see one
a little more
3-2
than that.
pitch.
We have like 2 minutes left in the show,
Okay.
John. So we're just gonna watch this tomorrow.
Chris Hodge will be on the show.
I haven't told you yet, but we're gonna have Cynthia Freeland on tomorrow since Friday we're gonna be at Broken Yoke.
He got out of it. Wow.
Mets suck.
Bases loaded, 1 out. Couldn't score a run.
And then he's talking crap to Lindor.
Yeah. Oh, he was.
Walking
He
to the
was.
dugout.
He was.
Oh! I thought the Dodgers did.
We're the victims.
Whoa,
Boo!
Act professional, guys.
We don't do anything wrong.
Act professional. What are we doing here? No trash talking allowed.
Is this gonna can the Met for too much? I don't think it's asking for too much. All up to you, Cleveland. All right, so Cynthia Freeland, NFL Network tomorrow on the show.
What is Darnay talking about?
What did he say?
You said please do the show with me on a daily. Darnay said, "Holy crap!"
He's talking about you not knowing how to read. If you're like, buy one,
Oh, got
He's
it.
listening
Okay.
to the show.
Oh, he
He's
called
the
me an
one.
idiot. He
He's the
called
one.
me an idiot. Exactly. I got it now. I called myself an idiot, Darnay. You can't hurt me, bro. You can't hurt me.
Yeah, have you
Mr.
seen what people
Bogo
say about him
host.
on social media?
Yeah. Nothing.
All right, we're back tomorrow, 3 p.m. Cynthia Freeland, Chris Hodge, others, me and Jim. For Brent and Jim, I'm John. Keep it here at San Diego Sports 760.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.